Welcome to the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. My name is Danny Heifetz, and I'm joined by Craig Horlbeck and Danny Kelly. Oh my God, I did the names out of order.
You did it backwards.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That just happened.
What the hell?
Did you say Danny Horlbeck and Craig Kelly?
I said Craig Horlbeck and Danny Kelly. It just happened.
I thought you mixed our names up.
It's the first time in like 5 years. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, so week 14 just ended. Wow. Ringer Fantasy Football Show, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So week 14 just ended, and we're going to go through all the games, and we have to start with Sunday Night Football. Chiefs beat the Chargers 19-17. DK, the Chiefs doink it off the upright. They win the game. It is their seventh game this season. They've won by one score. Are the Chiefs just like messing with us?
They're like a cat. They've got 9 lives. You're the cat guy.
He's literally wearing a cat dad sweater. Did you lose a bet? Right. I feel bad. What happened?
No, we put up a Christmas tree today. So I wore this like Christmas sweater that Jackie got me. And then I was going to take it off for the show. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? I am who I am.
It's like leather daddy.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs, they have the perfect combination of lucky and good. I didn't feel like they were like bad in this game particularly. You know what I mean? I thought this was going to be kind of a defensive battle between two teams that, obviously like the Chiefs offense has not been humming at, its full potential all season. And that's kind of how it played out. These division games are always hard to predict what will happen, but yeah, the Chiefs, like when they got the ball with whatever it was, like a little over a minute left, like did anyone have any doubt how that was going to end?
I was annoyed. I want to see them score a touchdown on the final drive. I feel like they have won so many games lately by just needing to get like 30 yards, killing the clock, and then kicking a field goal. So I was really pulling for the Chargers to get a touchdown on that final drive, and of course they couldn't. They were up by 2, and they were up by 1, and you knew it was all over. I don't know, man. If Derek Carr and the Saints had the exact same season that the Chiefs are having right now, what would we be saying about Derek Carr and the Saints?
We would just be talking about how lucky they are. They're just like on it's like roulette, hitting red over and over, but they won the 2 Super Bowls back to back, and right. Patrick Mahomes is better than Tom Brady, so not more accomplished, but he's better. And we're just like, well, it has to be skill. But again, NBC, they showed the list of wins at the end right there. It's like week 1, the Isaiah Likely toe was out of bounds catch, and then the pass interference on the Bengals, then the overtime where the Bucs didn't get the ball back in the overtime, and he won the coin toss with Baker, and Baker put his head down. They blocked the field goal versus the Broncos, the Panthers game, the Raiders botching the snap. Like they have 7 wins on the last play of the game, or the second last play of the game. That's actually crazy.
Are they using up all their luck before the playoffs hit? Is that a worry? Is that a thing that could happen?
Or they're just their kink is just like, I don't know. Maybe that gets them off.
Can't get up in the morning unless they have like a fourth quarter comeback on the menu here.
I can't tell if I'm more confident in the Chiefs than ever, or if I can't wait to bet against them in the playoffs.
I think you're more confident because you hate them now.
Yeah.
Betting against them's nuts, but also it's weird because they're both the Chiefs and no one's going to want to play them. But like, you're also going to be more confident of this Chiefs team than anyone. Like, I basically think the simplest way to say it is that if you took all of the 7 Patrick Mahomes Chiefs teams, this one would lose to the other 6. I'm not saying that means you can beat them, but like they would lose to the other ones. That's the way I look at it.
They're 12-1.
But they're the best record, but it's the worst team ththrough 13 weeks. I mean, I know they keep winning, but like it's crazy that they're like the new Steelers. Everything's close.
Why with that?
But just the stat, so the Chiefs, they win the AFC West. So they have the 9 AFC West titles in a row. It's the second longest streak ever after New England, after Tom Brady came back from the ACL. The Chiefs have now won 16 straight games in one possession games. The Chiefs have won 16 of them in a row, longest streak in the history of the NFL. And the other one that blew my mind, Patrick Mahomes, when he is in games where he is losing in the fourth quarter by any amount, he is 500. He's won 50%. And also, I believe that's that when he's down exactly 10, he's like undefeated or whatever. But like just losing in the fourth quarter, he has won half his games.
The 500 stat feels low, honestly. I feel like it's high. It should be higher. 500's a little bit, he's underperforming, actually. He has room to grow. And what sucks is while the Chiefs are on one side of this like luck spectrum, the poor Chargers are always on the other side.
Yeah. Herbert.
They got doinked. Hobbled Herbert was hobbled tonight, man.
He got the shit kicked out of him. He got hit so hard so many times in this game. I thought they would pan to him like scraping himself off the turf. Like it was probably like 5 or 6 times, I felt like.
What's cool about Herbert is he's obviously like so good, skilled, all that stuff, like the mechanics, like his size, his arm strength, all of that is like elite. But also mentally, Herbert just like he will not shy away from a single throw. He doesn't really make business decisions. Like the play where he hurt his leg, a guy was open, but he needed to step into the throw in order to get it off. And he saw the guy coming at him, and he literally just made the decision, like, I'm going to step into this, get drilled to make the throw. And he does that every single time.
Yeah.
He constantly lays his body on the line. It's like almost a flaw, to be honest.
When he came back from the injury, he still was kind of taking hits that he didn't really need to take. Because it's funny when Harbaugh was like, he's the toughest quarterback I've ever met. And I thought I was the toughest, but Herbert's the toughest quarterback in NFL
Harbaugh
history.
said that? Wow.
Obviously that's hyperbole, but
Yeah.
like, is it? Because I get what he's saying though, because Herbert really like, he picks himself up off the turf, but on the sideline when he came back from the game, like I couldn't believe he went right back in. And
that was the thing I was thinking too. And it's not just because he's on the Chargers and he wants to avoid the Chargers doctors, but like there was multiple times in this game where
he knows how he got the job.
He got the absolute like piss knocked out of him, went to the sideline, refused to have anyone look at him, and just like brushed himself off and went back out there. I think he got taped up. His ankle got taped up, but he wouldn't like allow, he didn't even like think about.
That's smart.
out.
Do you think that is the secret? It's that he knows he's staying away from the Chargers medical staff, and that's why
Fear
that's
is
really
a good
smart.
motivator. Yeah.
So the other, I mean, it's not just Herbert though. Mahomes got the shit kicked out of him too. I mean, Dan Pizzuta tweeted this out. I thought this was an amazing stat. This is in the middle of the fourth quarter. Mahomes has been hit 12 times tonight. That already ties the second most hits in a game of Mahomes' career.
Oh, wow.
The most ever in a game he took was 15. He took 12 midway through the fourth quarter. Mahomes was getting hit a lot in this game.
Totally.
He did the same thing that Craig was mentioning with Herbert in this game, where I think he he bought himself an extra beat to get throws off, but knew he was going to get like absolutely nailed. And he did that several times in this game. So credit to both guys, honestly, for toughness.
Collinsworth was on that all night, how much Mahomes has been getting hit lately. I mean, he's been sacked more this year than he has in any year, and it's only week 14.
They had Wanya Morris at left tackle, and they benched him, and they tried Kingsley Suamataia, and then he's a rookie. And then they had DJ Humphries tonight, who was, he was a left tackle who I think they said towards ACL New Year's Eve. This was the first game back. I don't think he even made it 3 quarters till he was limping off with a knee injury of his own. So then Morris came back, and it's like, frankly, while the Chiefs rebuilt the interior of their offensive line and they spent all the money on Joe Tooney at guard, and they have Trey Smith and they have Creed Humphrey at center, even though he can't really snap the ball all the time, the interior is really big, and they did a great job with that because the Bucs Super Bowl, they had all the interior pressure on Mahomes. They have gotten away with shoestring and bubblegum at left tackle for honestly Mahomes' entire career since Mitchell Schwartz retired. And like they just have Jawan Taylor, Mitchell Schwartz is right tackle, but like the left tackle the whole time, it's been like 33, 34-year-old guys in their last, like Donovan Smith on a 1-year deal or like whoever. And it's like the left tackle spot for such a great quarterback like Mahomes has been so in flux for so long. And like, so now he's getting the shit kicked out of him. And like, I hope that they don't keep pressing their luck for too long, because again, this is another time they lost. I mean, they're out of cornerbacks. Like they had, I forget his name. Was it Smith? Like they're running out of cornerbacks. Like every cornerback they have that steps up under Spagnuolo, then they get hurt. They already traded L'Jarius Sneed to begin the season. They're not down more quarterbacks after tonight. And then who am I forgetting? Someone else got hurt in this game. Like they're just losing guys. So other than Pacheco coming back, but the last thing we have to say is not only did Mahomes and the Chiefs figuratively get the last laugh. DK, you pointed out to me after the game, Mahomes literally got the last laugh in the postgame presser. Craig, you were not here for this, but we have to play it for you. Kai, please play Mahomes laughing in the postgame interview.
Oh, God.
Love it.
It's funny. You said, Mahomes is probably better than Brady, when it's all said and done. Mahomes actually might be the only guy who would be worse than Brady as a broadcaster.
It's like, can we pair him with like Gilbert Gottfried or something and like have
No, you put it with Abbott and Costello from the Muppets.
Can you imagine, like, what are the odds that you are better than Tom Brady as a quarterback and worse than Tom Brady as a broadcaster? Like, that is 1 in a trillion.
That's a FanDuel same game parlay.
It's impossible.
When I said Abbott and Costello, I meant Waldorf and Astoria. You should have the 2 Muppets and Mahomes announcing a game.
Craig, who would be the funniest person to pair Mahomes with? I was thinking like Gilbert Gottfried, Bobcat Goldthwait,
Kermit the Frog.
Well,
would be good.
It's too close. Although there might be something there with marketing. It's good spawn con.
Yeah.
Play it one more time, Kai.
They do lean into it though, the Chiefs. Travis Kelce makes fun of it. People, it's not something that like he's actively hiding. I think he's aware of it.
You can't change your laugh.
Yeah. You got to lean in. You have to lean in.
This reminds me so much of like someone did a mashup of Patrick Mahomes where it's like he sounds exactly like Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down. He's like, yeah. Then we went to the sick party. The chain smokers rolled up, and then
the chain smokers were there.
I was like, and then it just goes right to Kenny Powers talking about like jet skis and fucking barbecue. I don't even know what. But so good.
Oh my God.
It just doesn't match him at all. Like in terms of like what you'd expect.
It really changes his aura because I do think he is like the boogeyman on the field, but I don't think he doesn't have the Burrow Montana quality about him at all to me.
Right.
Well, what do you mean?
I don't think he's very charismatic. Like he's a charismatic player on the field. He's extremely charismatic, like the way he carries his body, even though he does kind of walk with a weird head tilt.
His movement is very strange.
He's just like kind of funky. I don't know.
He walks like he's Pablo Escobar. He's pulling up his pants in Narcos.
Yeah.
Like he just has that like bow-legged.
Like he's very confident, obviously, and he believes in himself. And like all of that's there, but there is something about him that doesn't quite have that star quarterback quality, you know? I don't know if he has Riz. Maybe that's what it is.
It's hard to get past the voice, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. Brady won 7 Super Bowls and still you listen to him and you're like, oh, this guy kind of sucks.
Yeah, he had more Riz when he was playing than
I think, dude, I don't even think Brady doesn't have the Riz or whatever you want to say. He just like, he tries to be too professional when he's doing the announcing now. And it's like, he's completely different. Like I've heard him do interviews. I've heard him talk. We've heard him on, the Manning cast or whatever. He's just like so much more relaxed and so much. It's just like he turned into like a corporate, like AI, just like spewing like cliches the entire time.
It was a terrible day for Brady.
We will get to that.
We'll get to Brady. We'll get to Brady. Winners and losers from the day. We have to start with the Buffalo Bills, who lost, but really specifically Sean McDermott, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. We said entering this week that we didn't think there was a game of the year. And ironically, this week was the game of the year. Bills-Rams was the best game of the year. The Rams beat the Bills 44-42. The game was amazing. We will get to how amazing the game was. We'll get to how amazing the players were. Bills head coach Sean McDermott lost this game for the Bills, or at the very least, took away their chance to win. He did the anti-Matt Eberflus and called the most panicky timeout I have ever seen. And before I go on my whole rant, DK, do you agree? Like, was this the worst timeout you've seen from a coach in a regular season game? Or at least in
run me through it again, because I had like multiple games on. I don't know if I noticed how bad it was.
So the Bills had the ball at the 1 yard line.
Mm-hmm.
There was more than 1 minute left in the game. They were down 9 points. So you get a touchdown. They have 3 timeouts left. So the idea is you get a touchdown.
Right. Yeah.
And you need to get.
They wasted their timeout because they needed it after they scored. Yeah.
So you had to get a stop on. You get a touchdown. Now you're down 2, and then you would get a stop on defense. You can't let them get a first down. First down, the game's over. But if you use the 3 timeouts, punt back. Josh Allen, who's in the middle of the best game of his career, gets the ball back, and a field goal wins the game. So they need to get a defensive stop. I know they gave up 44 points, but he's a defensive coach. They do a tush push on first down. Doesn't work. They call timeout with like 1:10 left, which just basically ends the game. You have like a 2% chance of getting an onside kick. Like it just ends the game right there using the timeout. Literally, every aspect of it is moronic. Calling the tush push.
That is very brutal.
Yeah, I think the call of the tush push is just as bad. Brady was actually all over that. He was like, I don't understand what they're doing. I mean, the tush push, even like when you're in the pile, it takes forever to get out. It was just
everyone
such a
lays
mess.
on you. Yeah, people lay on you for like 30 seconds.
And also, if you're going to be like, well, how could they have known it would be stopped? The Rams stopped the tush push on the 1 yard line like 10 minutes earlier in the game. They had stopped
the Eagles
them
are the only team where
earlier.
you could. The Eagles are the only team where maybe you could be like, it is such a guarantee that you can run that. But even fucking Josh Allen, just like three quick throws. One of them will work.
But even then, it would have been better to wait and let the Rams lay on you and like sort everyone out and take 30 seconds off the clock. That would have been better because you could still try to get the ball back with 20 seconds, 3 timeouts to get like 30 yards. That would have been better. Can any coach just play Madden one time?
I'm begging you.
It reminds me of there is all this psychological research that any group of people in any field, if you put time constraints on them, are worse at whatever their task is. timing and like, oh, you're on a clock makes you worse if there's like a big 60 seconds counting down thing. Everyone gets worse at everything.
Yeah,
basically.
our Power Hour episodes are the worst show we do every week for that reason.
Goddamn right.
Yeah.
And so like
I thrive under pressure. I don't know what you're talking about.
But like I honestly I just think it's a brain fart, but like I don't know how a team can't I don't know how in that situation an NFL head coach doesn't understand that if you call timeout, the game's over. Like it's better to have 30 seconds left.
They need someone to just be like
out.
a time, not someone that like makes the actual calls for you in terms of like when you're calling timeout, because I think that would be something that coaches push against. Like, I don't want to be like, talking to somebody, but they should have somebody who is like prepping them for the eventualities of like the 2-minute drill. You know what I mean? Like, if we get here, do not call timeout. If we get here, this is where we need to call timeout, and giving them like a reminder instead of having them trying to like figure it out on the fly. I think
the other thing that was absolutely insane was that on the final play of the game, the Rams punt them the ball back. McVay, we'll get to McVay in a second, but McVay, 7 seconds left. They punt the ball back. The Bills didn't even catch the ball. They just let the ball fall and the time expired. They didn't even try to return the punt, and they had 9 guys on the field for the last play of the game.
What was that?
You return the punt for a touchdown, you win the game. They had 9 people out there.
What was the kick returner doing? There was a guy back there, and he just ran away from the ball.
I think that was just muscle memory. Like you're not
what the hell
ever
was that?
taught. Well, I think that you're just never taught. That's coaching, because the guy.
It's just crazy to me.
But the returner is taught so much, not just that year, that summer, like your whole life. If you're a punt returner, it's like you do this in this situation, and they don't train you for the 1 in 1,000 chance that you actually need to catch a punt in the end zone.
You think somebody that play was like, "Hey, catch this and run it."
Well, that's my point. You would think the special teams coach has to grab him and say, "Hey, that thing it's like, hey, that thing we trained you to do to never catch the ball in the end zone, you have to catch it in the end zone right now." And it's like, weird. Guess what? The special teams coach wasn't doing his job because they had 9 players on the field.
Are you sure? Are you sure it wasn't that, because there was 7 seconds left? Are you sure it wasn't that they thought maybe they would get 1 second if it just went straight to the end zone, that where they didn't want him to catch it and they would get the ball in Josh's hands one more time?
Yeah, I think they didn't want someone to run around with the ball.
I think that's why he didn't catch it, not because he just like forgot.
But the point is overall that like it didn't work. They didn't get the time. Like that's the thing. Like they weren't prepared also because they had 9 people on the field. And again, it was just the Bills coaching was a disaster, and it ruined this incredible Josh Allen game where Josh Allen had the best game maybe of his entire career. And then, I mean, first
he basically had the best fantasy day ever.
Literally 52 fantasy points for Josh Allen, most by any quarterback in the history of fantasy football. Josh Allen's the first player ever with 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns in the same game. He threw for 342 yards and ran for 82 yards with no turnovers. And if the Bills had won this game, I think it would be it still is, on the short list of like the best regular season games a quarterback has probably ever played.
You know how we said last week was Josh Allen's Apex Mountain? It's now this week. Like
it's great.
Crazy to just immediately one up your Apex Mountain 1 week later. Very impressive.
Just never peak, always peak.
Always be peaking.
As we said last week, the MVP is now definitely his.
Yeah, Josh Allen's the MVP. This game, between that and the snow game, getting
Josh Allen had 18 interceptions last year. He has 5 this year.
It's unbelievable. And this whole, like, he was unbelievable, but also this game really was the best game of the season. I thought this was the best quarterbacking of the season. The Rams and Matt Stafford played electric. I mean, there are so crazy stats from this one, but
I know people are probably going to be upset that we started by talking about the team that lost and not McVay beating the Bills. But yeah,
that was out crazy though. That like in the middle of this epic game, the coach just ended their chance to win. That bothered me so much. Like Sean McDermott literally just removed the Bills from winning the game. But yeah, I mean, the ESPN stats and info, or Bill Barnwell tweeted this out. Bills Rams is the first game in NFL history in which each team scored 40 points with no turnovers. And then also, I believe Hayden Winks tweeted out it's the first game ever with 800 total yards and no turnovers.
Wow,
it's just unbelievable. And so, Stafford played so well in the. I don't want to go through a bunch of individual plays, but Stafford played so well. My dad texted me in the middle of the game. Was like, "Why did the Giants trade for Matt Stafford?" And I was
What'd
like,
you say?
So it's a sound question.
I said because Matt Stafford didn't want to go to the Giants.
Yeah,
but like, I dude, just
who was the coach of the Giants at the time?
Dude, I think it was like Pat
Joe
Shermer.
Judge?
Pat Shermer or Joe Judge, yeah. Probably Joe Judge.
Stafford definitely was not in Cabo with Pat Shermer.
No. Dude. The irony, too, that Pat Shermer is the offensive coordinator for Shadur Sanders of Colorado is really funny. That, like, Pat Shermer could then send the Giants back their quarterback. Neither here nor there. We don't have to have the Giants right now. But, like, Matt Stafford had a couple throws in this game where my intrusive thought was Matt Stafford's the best thrower of football I've ever seen, which I think about once every month. Cooper Kupp caught a touchdown off his thigh. Puka Nacua had 2 different catches in this game that like 20 years ago would have been the best catch of the entire season. Josh Allen had 2 of the best scrambles I've seen from his entire career. Like Khalil Shakir had that crazy 60-yard touchdown.
That was sweet.
Everyone on this game was just absolutely balling. Like so many games are like teams make mistakes and other teams just kind of take advantage. This game was just like 59 minutes of just people making plays.
Stafford had his Peyton Manning moment in this game, in my opinion. And it happened pre-snap. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there was a play. It was actually the play where Puka Nacua made that insane, like diving toe touch catch at the sideline.
Yeah.
But like right before the snap, the play clock was winding down, and it was almost like a "God damn it, Donald" situation. You remember with Peyton Manning yelling at
God damn it, Donald.
What was his last name? Donald Brown. Who was that? Donald something. Anyways, Stafford was like screaming at Tutu Atwell. He was like, it was like for whatever reason, it was like really quiet. You could hear everything that Stafford was saying, and he goes, "Hurry up, get set over there!" And he wagged him over to the other side. He like barely got the snap off, and then he made like one of the most insane throws I've ever seen. And then Puka Nacua made one of the best catches I've ever seen. So yeah, they are playing at a high level. Stafford has always been like super, super fun to watch. I like when this team, and I had the Rams and McVay as a winner for this week, just because I think honestly, if Puka, Stafford, and Kupp are all playing at the same time, I think Kyron you could even put in there too. Like they can go punch for punch with any team in the NFL. Like they could literally run the table, and it wouldn't surprise me that much just because they are so good offensively. You know, I think defensively, obviously in this game they didn't have a good defensive game, but you know, I think they have some pass rush and they have some components that could like make things difficult. But like this offense, it just allows them to go punch for punch with anybody.
Stafford is every quarterback's favorite quarterback.
Yeah.
And even if he's not the single best quarterback in the league, he's probably top 5. But it does feel like he has like the highest degree of difficulty when he plays. Like what he is doing out there feels like it is the hardest for him, and he is still succeeding. That is how good he is.
No look, sidearm throws through traffic over the middle of the field.
He's like just hitting contested 3 after contested 3 the entire game.
He's like if Herbert had Riz.
Herbert doesn't have Riz.
He's just taking so much. But Stafford's
we
taking
should
so
do the
many
Riz
hits.
rankings.
Oh, wow. That's a good power hour. All right, Kai, write that down. Riz rankings is really
Where's
good.
Mahomes?
Yes.
20? I don't know.
Riz versus Aura. But we need a Riz Aura matrix.
Kai, get on that.
Oh God, yeah.
Get on that, Kai. Get that in True Media. But the Stafford, he also just frankly makes up. So I mean, McVay just said this. McVay said this on Flying Coach, Greg, where it's like sometimes like you get Stafford and it's like you have the wrong play call and then Stafford throws a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, McVay looks like a genius. But I will also say, great game for Stafford. I thought this was a huge game for Sean McVay because obviously, like, McVay's a great coach. I still think it's incredible that, like, he's going to be. I mean, Sean McVay is about to pass Jimmy Johnson in wins in his career. And, like, McVay's 38 or however old. But McVay's biggest flaw as a coach was always, like, game management, timeouts, clock management. And all that stuff, and aggressiveness on 4th down, which, you know, maybe because he got a head coaching job at 30, hard to have that all down. He did a great job with all this, like the way they ran out the clock at the end, going for it on 4th down in that final drive and being like, this is a shootout. I don't think Sean McVay would have done that even 2 years ago.
And then Stafford even throwing that to Tutu Atwell.
Yeah.
On like a critical 4th down. It's just like such a baller move.
Get over there.
Get over there. Dude, the goddamn title. But yeah, this reminds me of that Ravens-Rams game last year. That was like the best quarterback game of last season. And I think that one went to overtime, but that was this version of it. But yeah, the Stafford McVay stuff is, I don't want to be like underrated, but I feel like just because they won a Super Bowl immediately, we kind of skipped to the, like, yeah, they're really good. But like I don't know. Stafford's this weird quarterback. No one knows how to rank him or whatever, but
yeah,
he's as good as anybody. At its best. This was a crazy game.
The Stafford Goff trade will go down as one of the more interesting trades ever in terms of like sliding doors and
crazy.
Obviously, got like the Rams the Lions are so happy they made that trade for a lot of reasons. But it's also like, you know, the Rams got a fucking Super Bowl, so that helps too. And obviously, Stafford's still playing a really, really high level. I don't know for how much longer he'll be playing, but man,
if the Lions win a Super Bowl, you'll probably get a documentary out of it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that trade. Craig, who else do you have as a winner or loser today?
My winner is just fantasy backups and kind of like bye week guys. It was such a weird week. There were so many great players on bye. This is the last week of the fantasy regular season. Ravens, Texans, all these teams on bye. And you had to start and then there was also a lot of injuries, kind of last second injuries. Ken Walker was out. Breece Hall. George Pickens was kind of a late scratch with a hamstring. Ladd McConkey didn't play tonight. And all of these kind of unexpected backup waiver wire guys that we've been kind of touting all year, all these handcuffs, all these stashes, all of them kind of paid off today. Zach Charbonnet on Seattle had a massive day. The two running backs on the Jets, Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen, had 25 points. Garendo, the Niners guy, had a McCaffrey day,
touchdowns.
130 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, you could keep going. Tyler Algier had a day. The two tight ends we shouted out on the Monday show, Jawan Johnson and Calcaterra on Philly, scored touchdowns. Adam Thielen had over 100 yards. Sincere McCormick had almost 100 yards on the Raiders. Josh Palmer had a good day with Ladd McConkey out. And then, Trey McBride and Michael Wilson had a big game with Marvin Harrison Jr. out. He was out, right? I didn't see him on the field.
Craig, God damn it. Marvin Harrison did play for those keeping record at
he's
home.
out there. Yeah.
The
Tobias Harris of the NFL.
Had a good day.
The Tobias Harris of the NFL. Holy shit. That might have to stick. Oh my God. Wait, Marvin Harris Jr.? Tobias Harris? Should we call him Tobias Harris Jr.?
I'm just waiting for an impact game from him.
Holy shit.
Is he just famous for having empty calorie minutes or what? I don't know anything about this.
Yes.
Okay.
And Russillo always jokes that there's like the guys who are like, you read the stat sheet and they played for 37 minutes and you didn't notice they were out there one time.
Milford men.
Yeah.
Real Milford men, neither seen nor heard.
But yeah, big day for Marvin. 4 catches, 49 yards, 6.9 points.
Craig.
Thanks, Marvin. Big game today, big division game. So, and that actually takes me right to my loser, which is the Cardinals. And Kyler and I don't know who, but it's just the Cardinals. This is the second loss to Seattle in 3 weeks. They've lost 3 straight. This team went into the bye first in the NFC West. Now they're third. They're tied with the worst record with the Niners. I don't know, man. Especially this year with the parity in the NFC West, this was like if not now, then when? And it didn't happen again for Arizona. They now have a 9% chance to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, losing to the Seahawks in 2 out of 3 weeks is pretty devastating. It's like, I don't know, like they flew too close to the sun or something and their wings burned up. It was just, they started out this game too. Like the way they started out, you're like, oh God, this is not good. Kyler threw 2 picks on his first 3 possessions.
Yeah.
And then the Seahawks basically took control of the game from there. They fought back a little bit, but yeah, the Cardinals, it's really tough. I think it's hard to, I don't know. I don't know what to make of them because on one hand, they've completely overachieved versus what we expected from them this season, I think. And at the same time, it's like, man, super disappointing because now they're fading fast. They're basically not going to make the playoffs. This is a tough division. The Rams are rising really fast. The 49ers can still kick the shit out of you when they want. And yeah, the Seahawks obviously are the favorites right now. But yeah, the Cardinals, they do feel like they overachieved, but it is also very disappointing.
Well, the Cardinals, I mean, again, they had 18 points and they scored 7 on their first drive. But I mean, I look at the Cardinals, you can't even put up a dramatic game against the Seattle Seahawks. This was the first conventional, undramatic Seattle Seahawks win that I can remember in 20 years. DK, I mean, what was it weird? Did you even know the Seahawks were on? Like, did your heart rate, did you leave resting?
You're absolutely right, actually. It was kind of a not stress-free, but less stressful Seahawks game than I can remember in a really long time. They ran the ball really well, which was really different from what they've normally done this year. Their defense was really good. I had the Seahawks as a winner too, because I think, first of all, Mike McDonald, we're getting proof of concept with him. Their defense has really, really picked it up in the last 4 weeks or so. They're starting to play together. They're starting to play basically the scheme we saw for the Ravens last year, where it was you just never know where pressure's coming and they're confusing the hell out of the quarterbacks. They're jumping in front of passing lanes. The quarterbacks that they're playing aren't really knowing where guys are. It's there's been multiple games in the last couple weeks or multiple plays in the last couple weeks where a good quarterback will just throw the ball directly to a Seahawks player. And that's that is because the way that they play defense is they're dropping guys into lanes and sending pressure from somewhere else. It's just a confusing way to play. And so there's proof of concept with that. I thought Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, acquitted himself well today because they could not run the ball for the first 13 weeks of the season. And today they really ran the hell out of it with Ken Walker out too, which is really impressive. Like Charbonnet ran really well. They blocked really well, had some explosive plays. The Seahawks are in first place. Speaking of the Rams, it could really come down to week 18. The Seahawks play the Rams in week 18. And right now Seahawks are 8-5. The Rams are 7-6. I bet you anything it's going to come down to the last week.
Where is that game? Seattle or LA?
It's in LA. So, and the Seahawks have a tough schedule coming up. They actually play, next week they play the Packers and in Seattle, and then the Vikings in Seattle. And then they go to the Bears, and then they finish the season with the Rams. So it's going to come down to the wire.
Yeah,
it's going to be stressful.
You're right. It will come down to the wire. That's crazy.
If they can beat the Packers and the Vikings, which is going to be really, really difficult, probably impossible, then the Seahawks, I think, can run away with it. But that's probably not going to happen. I think for sure it'll probably come down to that final game of the year.
Okay, next up here, the I Am Become Death Oppenheimer Award for player who went nuclear. Obviously Josh Allen, like most points for a quarterback ever. Yeah. So, Josh Allen gets Oppenheimer. But otherwise, it's like what we were just saying of Charbonnet, too. Charbonnet ended up being the number one running back on the week, too, as like a bye-week fill-in. There are leagues where people probably picked him up today.
Crazy. I've always I like Zach Charbonnet, but I'm a big Ken Walker fan, but I've been holding on to Charbonnet the whole season just because Ken Walker gets banged up a lot. You know that today, Zach Charbonnet had a better fantasy day than Ken Walker's ever had?
I saw
4 points.
I think I saw this stat. He finished with like 130 something yards. Hold on. Craig, do you have his stat line?
I do. He had 130 rushing yards and 59 receiving on 7 catches.
Yeah, and he basically whatever it is, 130 plus yards and whatever it is receiving yards. Only Sean Alexander has done that for the Seahawks, like hit those 2 milestones or whatever. I think I saw that stat on Twitter. So like this was a massive, massive game for Charbonnet. And honestly, like I'm with you, Craig. Like I'm a huge Walker guy. I've been really frustrated with Charbonnet this year in particular because like it's like kind of unfair for him. The Seahawks basically only use him in like these short yardage situations where they're stacking the box. Everyone knows they're going to run, and then it gets like stuffed half the time. And so I've been a little bit frustrated with him. But this was such a validation for having him and for picking him in the second round, because when your star running back goes down, you can go to this guy, and like the run game has the best game of its like entire season. So, and he had 7 catches for 59 yards. So like huge game for him. I was not expecting that, and it was awesome because like I think Walker was probably declared out like last night or something. If you picked him up on the waivers last night or this morning, like huge win for you.
And also, if you've just had Charbonnet on your bench for 3 months because we kept saying his name over and over, and then like, all right, there you go. Finally, glad that wasn't all for waste. Yeah. I also just can't believe. I know we mentioned this a moment ago, but a lot of these guys Craig said delivered. We didn't mention Isaac Guerrero delivered and then got hurt in this game, which is just absolutely insane.
Freaking Niners. The Niners backs cannot stay healthy.
Well, I feel like every Niners run is like a slingshot, and these running backs are just getting sent.
Genuinely wonder if it's because they're going faster when they're getting hit. Like,
there's
I
probably
think that's
something
like a wide
to that.
zone thing.
They should do a study on that. I think there's something to it.
It feels like, isn't that just physics? Like we have the data that the people in those wide zone schemes are going faster at the point of contact. Like it would.
Yeah, and some linebacker running the opposite direction just drills you in the second level.
Collisions.
I wonder why these guys are dropping like flies.
I just think back to like, it was like Jeff Wilson, Elijah Mitchell.
Raheem Mostert,
like, and they just everyone just kept getting hurt on like a rotation, and they would just like rotate guys in. Now they're on like 4-string guy Patrick Taylor. Of all people, it's going to be like a waiver wire pickup this week, I should say. And so, yeah, man, I don't know what's going on with this, but it's probably physics.
Other Oppenheimer Award. Dude, Puka Nacua, number 1 receiver on the week.
Yeah. We mentioned the Rams, obviously, but Puka, 12 catches, 162 yards, and a touchdown, plus 5 carries. They kept spamming these like jet sweep type deals with Puka.
I know, 5 carries is
5
crazy.
carries for Puka. So, yeah, 17 touches. He had 5 carries, 16 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. Just every time you look up from like, if you're watching multiple games, every time you look up, Puka's making another play.
Can I do my intrusive thought right now? Cause it involves Puka.
Yes.
I love Puka to death, but I think he's the best fantasy player that I want nothing to do with every year.
Just cause he gets so beat up every game or?
Yeah. He's honestly the Justin Herbert of wide receivers, like amazing talent, beloved, plays the game the right way. like almost plays with too much honor. Like just every once in a while, he needs to just go down, and he won't do it. He refuses because he loves the game. He loves his teammates.
Just have a little bit of Tyler Lockett in you. Just talk to Tyler. Figure out what he does. You know,
DeAndre Hopkins is really good at it. Smart, ducks out of bounds.
It's like goes into a fetal position. There was one play today where Hopkins like tried to stiff arm a defender. He got all like feisty, and then it didn't work, and then he just curled up into a ball.
I just like I don't think I'm emotionally able to draft Puka Nacua and like suffer through that an entire year. Every single play, him lowering his shoulder.
It's terrifying. It's a terrifying fantasy experience, but it is also
an emotional
exhilarating.
anxiety when you see like your best player in a collision, and every Puka Nacua tackle is like a saga.
And he gets up slow like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I bet his family like hates watching him play just because he just never gets up quickly.
I just can't do it. I know he's amazing. I just can't.
I think Kupp is the same. The Rams are just walking a tightrope with like
just
all their players.
It's an LA thing. Like LeBron just laying on the floor, like just catching his breath. You know what I mean? After like he goes down, like every Puka, he just like crushing someone.
And
going
Stafford
down.
leans on them so much. I mean, like when they play, they're each getting 12 targets. Like they're not going to have an easy game ever.
And then he literally leans on them like walking off the field. They're just both like neither can walk as they leave. Yeah. It's actually unbelievable. The other Oppenheimer, you're Craig. We should write that down. Yeah, we should actually don't always take people who take a shitload of hits. They all get the piss hit out of your team. Herbert, Puka, keep that in mind.
Niners running backs. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. The other Oppenheimer players who went nuclear, just the Vikings. The Vikings doubled up Atlanta today.
What the hell?
Vikings beat Atlanta 42-21. Sam Darnold, best game of his career. Darnold had 300
touchdowns,
5 touchdown passes, and 350 passing yards for Darnold. 35 fantasy points for Sam Darnold, which in some ways is crazier than Josh Allen having 52. Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson are both like top 3 fantasy receivers this week. Justin Jefferson had 7 catches, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jordan Addison had exactly one more of everything. 1 more catch, 1 more yard, 1 more touchdown. Addison had 133 yards and 3 touchdowns. This is why we did that thing in August of like what teams should you stack and everything, because sometimes fantasy comes down to like your friend's a Vikings fan, and if they do this again in 3 weeks, like they'll just win the league if this happens.
It's also starting to look like Jordan Addison was this year 3 for Addison?
Yeah.
It looks like he's really making the leap, and that this might be the new Chase Burrow. I mean, if Addison continues on this trajectory, this might be the best 1-2 punch in the league.
I think this is year 2. He's only second year.
And he won the Biletnikoff in college, like Kenny Pickett. He had an incredible season. Then he went to USC, he went from Pitt to USC. No, USC to Pitt.
He was at Pitt. He won the Biletnikoff. Then he played with Caleb Williams at USC.
And then
didn't have quite as like prolific of a season, but still a very good player. Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought there was a USC to Pitt pipeline. No offense, but Addison, it's funny because the first touchdown he had was basically like it going to be intercepted in like 9 out of 10 times. Like the Darnold threw up a punt. Like it looked like, no offense to Carlos, but Tua throwing it like one of those deep passes to Tyreque in a playoff game.
2 of those.
And it was like Addison literally waited so long that all the defenders ran past. But then the other 2 Addison touchdowns were like super impressive. And I agree, Craig, he is coming on really strong. And then I actually think that this game showed why the Vikings let Kirk Cousins leave and they took Sam Darnold, because Kevin O'Connell, the coach, wanted Kirk Cousins to stay and the front office did not. And this game is why, because I think that Justin Jefferson's the touchdown, I forget which one. It was hard to keep track of all 5. Exemplified everything, because there was that play where Darnold basically dropped back and was like about to get sacked and crunched, and he squeezed through an opening and like extended the play 3 seconds and just threw a ball on a rope. And Justin Jefferson had embarrassed like this broken coverage so bad. I felt so bad for the defender. Like he literally fell down trying to catch up to him, and he just hit him, and Jefferson danced in backward to the end zone. But like Kirk Cousins can't make that play anymore. Like he can't scramble. He can't make that throw like on that velocity. And I just felt watching the game that like Kirk cannot do that. And this Vikings team did not have those extended plays. And that's why the Vikings are just a better team right now.
O'Connell had a really nice exchange with Kirk after the game at midfield. I want to hear everything O'Connell says midfield. It feels like it's just like
he's your new guru.
Yeah.
He's who Stroud wants to be. CJ Stroud wants to be Kevin O'Connell.
100%. It just feels like whatever he's saying is so wise and it makes you feel so good and warm. He just seems like the best. I want him or Tomlin to win Coach of the Year. Yeah.
I want him to be my dad.
If Tomlin doesn't win Coach of the Year, I hope it's O'Connell. O'Onnell might deserve it even more.
Honestly, I think you're right. Do you guys think the Vikings are top tier NFC contender with Bears, Lions, Eagles? And by top tier contender, which I think is amorphous, vague
Did you
term.
say Bears?
Bears?
Oh, did I say Bears? Holy shit! I
said
meant the
Bears.
fucking Packers. Jesus.
Yeah.
Bears.
I think that. Yeah, I do.
Like,
Yeah,
and what
or
I mean
Bonita
by
Fish
that is
Big?
I hate the term contender sometimes. Yeah. Would you be equally surprised at like the Vikings making the Super Bowl as you would like Lions, Eagles, Packers?
No, I would be
Right.
more surprised because of Sam Darnold versus Jordan Love and Goff and the Lions machine, and then
Yeah, because I think that's the Vikings feel like the second tier in the NFC all by themselves. It's like Lions, Eagles, Packers, or maybe Bears. Some are saying.
Sam Darnold is third in the NFL in touchdown passes right now. I think this is like such a validation for all the Darnold truthers out there. Heifetz, I know you were one for this offseason, but like he's got a lot of like people sort of had been in his corner for years, even though he was, really, really terrible for a really long time. But like this is what they saw. He has this in him. You know what I mean? Like he has like some crazy ability, some crazy natural physical talent, arm strength. And I know our buddy Nate Tice, I think was like always acknowledging that Darnold has like a little bit of bozo in him and needs to be like in the right system. But like Nate has always said, like he could make some of the craziest throws. Like he's just like physically more talented than most quarterbacks in the NFL. And this is why, I guess like in retrospect, I probably should have been on board with this, but 28 touchdowns, 10 picks.
As someone who was on this, there had been remarkably little to go on. It was mostly just a
the
lifetime
flashes.
of faith.
It was
that
the
Jets-
flashes. Yeah.
It was a lifetime of faith that the Jets could screw anything up.
I wish every year
That's
there
true.
was just a new quarterback coming into O'Connell Town and he could just like rebuild.
There is.
JJ
They
McCarthy.
signed fucking Daniel Jones. There literally
they did.
is.
Damn.
If
Yeah.
they
What do you
fix-
think he says to DJ?
Ugh.
Danny Dimes.
It's probably
let me
euphoric.
get ahead of this. If
Does he even
first
talk
of
to him?
all, if you two make fun of the Giants, if Daniel Jones is good on Minnesota, I'm going to kill you both. I'm just going to tell you right now. But like, first of all, Daniel Jones better be better on Minnesota because holy shit, every single player on all 15 people who play for Minnesota are better than all 15 people who play on offense for the Giants. So he better be better.
How far does Darnold have to go where they bring him back?
One playoff win and it's hard. I think one play. It depends because everyone's like, "Oh, Darnold, go back to New York." It's like, dude, no fuck. Why would he want to do that? Number one,
This is such a tough. This is going to be a tough decision. It already is.
For
I
who?
can already see it. Yeah, for the Vikings.
Oh, okay. I was like, for Darnold,
Because for Darnold, he's going to command pretty good money, I think.
$760 million over 15 years, like Juan Soto.
Yeah.
But-
Speaking of that, I need to sign Calvin up for baseball.
I know,
I had that thought today.
dude. I know that you guys don't follow baseball. I will just say, I don't understand the 15-year contract thing.
The Bobby Bonilla,
Dude, my friend.
isn't Bobby Bonilla still getting paid?
No, that was good for the team. That was they deferred the
Right.
money out, which is like anyone would want
it's
to
like
do
an
that.
annuity or something. I don't.
Yeah,
even know
well,
how
it's
it
like, do you
works.
want to pay him like $50 million now or $1 million a year for 50 years? Everyone would take that. This is just like you are under contract to them for 50. Like my friend his baby is due in January. And when that kid who is not born is in high school, the Mets will still be paying Juan Soto $45 million a year, which is a little crazy. To think about.
Baseball contracts are insane.
Baseball is the weirdest sport.
They're like, oh, no one
162
watches.
games,
We have a
man.
ton of money. And like, it's just, I don't know. The whole thing's crazy.
No one watches. Here's $1 billion.
Dude,
There's 162 games.
$765 million
10
over.
times more games, Craig.
Also, never mind. Well, that it is. There's not 162 of anything anymore.
It's like, dude, 162 games is way too many. I'm sorry.
And then the playoffs start.
I know.
Like
It's-
160. This is a game that's been
The
going on
best-
since like the late 1800s, and literally they were just like, I mean, I don't know when they went to 162 games, but like it's so irrational
100
to
years
do a
ago.
162 game season.
The best is when remember that stretch where there was a 1-game wild card playoff where you would literally play
Yeah.
162 games and then you would get one wild card game, and if you lost, you
Insane.
were out.
Your pitcher would get hurt. You had to pitch him like to get into the game, and then oh my god, it's so dumb. Dude, Ryan O'Hanlon, who DK used to be your editor and like one of my the smartest people I ever met, and like Ryan was always like, if baseball had football schedule, it'd be the biggest sport in the world. Like if the MLB just had 16 games and you had one pitchers once a week in the fall, everyone would be obsessed.
100%.
like-
That's why playoff baseball is so
so-
great.
And but never mind the fact that Juan Soto went from the Yankees to the Mets and all the city stuff that I'm sure I'll complain about for like literally the rest of this podcast. Because again, the contract till 2040. I just need to point out $765 million. 12 years ago, the Houston Astros were sold for like $100 million less than that. Like you could have bought the Houston Astros
That's wild.
with $600 million like 12 years ago. And 12 years later, you just get Juan Soto for more than that. So anyway, we can go back to football. Sorry. Well, yeah. So Vikings.
Should we look up some old baseball player names?
Was Juan Soto the best player in the Yankees or no?
Him and Aaron Judge. Yeah. I mean, Aaron Judge. Yeah. Juan Soto, there's a lot going on with Juan Soto, but in short, he's incredible. Like he is one of the 3 best players in baseball.
Mets,
5,
dude, just like fucking evil empire. I love it. Keep going. Cohen.
$13 billion with the guy from Billions. Yeah. Oh my God. So then again, Kirk Cousins gets $100 million guaranteed, and like shit, might as well give Juan Soto $700 million. It's over for Kirk Cousins.
Natural progression. Yeah.
I here's my question. I mean, because if we're just it's so over, we're so back. Craig, when we say it's so over, sometimes we're like metaphorical. Is it actually like over for Kirk Cousins?
I think the Falcons are in a really weird spot. I don't think they can bench him, but I really think they should. This team is not going to do anything in the playoffs with Kirk Cousins. Like the ceiling's just not there. Kirk is not playing well, and he can't move, and it's not going to get better. And they're just kind of stuck. And Michael Penix has that extra gear that the Falcons need. You can even see it when you're watching the games. It's like there's no wonder Kyle Pitts isn't running routes, because half the time the ball's over his head or 10 yards before him. I think they should start Michael Penix, but I understand that you gave this guy $100 million guaranteed, and you don't exactly want to call it on that, 14 games into the first year.
DK, I'm curious what you think. Because first of all, last 4 games for Kirk Cousins, no touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and then
dude,
say that again.
Kirk Cousins
0 touchdowns and 8 interceptions in the last 4 games.
Bad.
Yeah,
and they've lost all of them. Obviously.
Not how you want it.
Yeah.
And then he had 340 yards in this game, but it was really like an old school new school, old school Ben Roethlisberger, 340 yards, where like he didn't move, can't move, park and bark, a lot of yards, lost, played terribly, no juice in his passes. But DK, I'm curious, the last 4 games, the Vikings lost to, the Falcons and Kirk lost to the Vikings, great defense. Chargers, solid defense. Broncos, one of the best defenses. Saints. Next 4 games, Falcons, and again, they still can make the playoffs. Falcons are playing the Raiders, the Giants, the Commanders, the Panthers. And so I'm like, do you bench Kirk because, Penix is your future, you might as well start him? Or do you actually want to risk Penix coming in and blowing one of these easy winnable games because he's a rookie? Because like, it would be kind of dumb if Penix came in and you lost to the Raiders because like it's his first career start. Like you would think Kirk can beat the fucking Raiders, right? No offense to Austin Gale.
Yeah. Damn.
It is hard.
I think it actually, like, if I'm being completely honest with myself, it's a hard decision to make, because I think you can't, I feel like you can't bench Kirk and then go back to him necessarily. Or I guess you could, but
that's the theme of the whole year.
It's like hard. It's hard to do that because then you have to worry about like Michael Penix and his confidence and all that. Like, it's just like a fucking Pandora's box. So it's a tough decision for NFL teams. Obviously, this is why they're still going with him.
Danny Heifetz, actually, it's the opposite. What if they have to bench Kirk Cousins because that's the only way he'll play better, like Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson? What if it's the only way Kirk can play better is by benching him?
Maybe Kirk needs to get into a very light car accident. Everyone's fine.
Yeah.
Just a fender bender.
Yeah, they have a reason to start Michael Penix. They're not benching him.
I do think Bryce Young is my worst so back, though. Bryce Young is my worst so back. To steal a line from Craig, I've seen enough. Bryce Young can play quarterback. I agree.
I agree too. I think.
Yeah. He looks good, man. He's making plays out of structure. He's making some pretty sick throws in these games.
So Panthers lost to the Eagles 22-16. Lost. Bryce Young led a game-winning drive. Like, did Xavier Legette catch the ball? No. Should he have caught a touchdown to put the Panthers up a point with 45 seconds left? Yes, Bryce Young did his job. He led a 90, again, if Legette just catches the ball, that is a 98-yard touchdown drive from Bryce Young against an Eagles defense that everyone was saying was one of the best defenses in the NFL over the last month, and converted a 3rd and 11 from his own end zone. He converted a 3rd and 7 that Leggett dropped, so he didn't convert it. Then he converted a 4th and 7, and like the poise, everything. And first of all, I thought Bryce Young was like the best player in the 1 o'clock game window on East Coast time. And I also, DK, I'm going to say something, and this is an intrusive thought, but I thought Bryce Young looked a lot like young Russell Wilson today.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, like that was kind of like part of the equation when he was coming into the NFL. I remember like watching his college tape. It's like he just has like this natural feel for the pocket, moving around, getting away from pressure. Like that was like a big selling point with him, is like his spatial awareness and like his ability to kind of like predict where people are going to be and then make plays out of structure. And Russell Wilson early in his career, and they talked about it in Seattle for honestly like 8 or 9 years. It felt like where, oh, this can't go on. He has to learn to play from the pocket. He has to learn to play in structure every fucking year, every offseason. We're just talking about like, oh, when's he going to stop scrambling around and like doing things out of structure? But he did it for a really long time. And guess what? He's still doing it. And so, yeah, I mean, I can see where you come up with that like comparison. I think obviously body type wise, they're very different. They're both short, but Russell was always like a thick, really fast player. And Bryce Young is like tiny and not very fast, or he's like not as explosive as Russell Wilson was. But like the way that he like maneuvers in the pocket and buys himself an extra beat to get a throw off, I can see like some similarities there. It's like, but it is night and day, like how much better he's playing now than what he did last year and what he did early in the season. It's pretty crazy. They almost won. That guy who made the $3.1 million bet on the Eagles.
Oh my God.
Must have had the all-time sweat of like the all-time
another
pucker
example.
factor.
He won though. You know what I mean?
He won though.
New house.
Don't
New
watch the
house.
game. If you didn't see this, so someone put down a $3 million bet on the Panthers the Eagles to beat the Panthers.
Lesson that Craig comes away with.
Yeah. $3 million.
Great bet.
It is believed to be one of the largest bets ever placed on a regular season NFL game. $3 million on the Eagles to win $400,000.
Who has $3 million put on a fucking game?
Dave Portnoy?
Was it him?
No, but he regularly puts large amounts on games.
It's just so funny that that person, which again spiritually like they should have lost and just picked up $400,000.
Wait, so how much did they win? It was $3.1 million.
It was like $3 million to win like $400,000 or something, $500,000.
So enough for that guy to like
new kitchen,
redo his bathroom, I guess, for how rich he is.
A new zero gravity kitchen or something.
He can now add a
fancy
sauna to his basement.
It's funny. Dude, oh my God, I can't believe. It is crazy that they won the bet.
I know, dude. When like, how much is Leggett in on this? Like, how much does he get? What's his cut for dropping that pass?
Oh, I see. Inside job.
Well, he should get some of it.
Maybe it was him. $3 million.
That's one of the all-time. Just like, I hope that guy went apple picking with his partner and came back and checked
the score. Cool.
Great, they won.
Cool.
Just like I thought they would.
No, that guy definitely posted up in his sports book. Like,
God.
like just a club and had bottles and was expecting to be like, yep, I'm gonna get like a $3.4 million ticket back today, and just like had it all lined up and was just sitting there. And everyone there is like awkward and can't even imagine. Any other It's So Overs or so back here?
Yeah, it's over for all the Arthur Smith haters out there.
Oh,
it's over. Steelers are 6-1 with Russ, and the one was a blizzard game. Today, I was really feeling the two of them, and they were feeling each other, Russ and Arthur Smith. They are building something special together. No George Pickens today. I thought the play designs were the best they've ever been all year. Guys were getting open left and right. Mike Williams back shoulders, Freiermuth open over the middle, Van Jefferson catching TDs, Calvin Austin in the mix. Like that, listen to those names I just threw out. Like not a lot going on, and they are making it work. Yeah, Pickens out. Smart move, I think. Steelers. I think Tomlin kept him out. I bet you he would have played. If
what
it was
did he?
a
What did he?
game.
He like injured himself
Hamstring.
late in the week.
He tweaked his hamstring and he warmed up, and then they decided not to play him. I think it's because the Steelers have such a gauntlet coming, and I think they thought honestly they could beat the Browns at home without him. But I do think he would have played if this were a playoff game. The Steelers haven't lost at home against the Browns since 2004.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's wild.
So I think they felt good about it going in. But dude, Arthur Smith.
That's like 1.5 Juan Soto contracts.
Do we have Do we have to change the name of the Arthur Smith category? Dare I say?
I had that written down too. I think we do have to change the name of the Arthur Smith category. You know why? Because he pissed us off as head coach, but this is really like
he's a good coordinator.
Again, he's a great coordinator, and Arthur Smith's problem is that his dad founded FedEx and he got handed a coaching opportunity that he then worked very hard on. But like, he had the thing where he was obsessed with not playing his good players and working for Mike Tomlin, whose only rule is we just play the good players. It was perfect.
Yeah, we tolerate the weird.
We tolerate anything.
The psychotic people that we bring into the organization
Arthur
because they're
Smith's
good at football.
The least tolerant coach ever, and then Mike Tomlin's like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to get over that, bud."
Yeah, I agree, Craig. I actually had Russell Wilson as We're So Back, aka Mr. Unlimited, aka they're letting him cook. He's back, baby. Russell Wilson. He's been playing pretty well. I don't think he played all that great in the first half, but he ended up 15 to 26, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. Since taking over, as Craig said, he's 6-1, 65% completion rate, 8.4 yards per attempt, 104 passer rating, 12 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, 255 passing yards a game, which is like probably up there with like one of the highest seasons in his career.
Has he always done the thing, DK, where he gets down on his knee after a touchdown and like points, or is that new?
I don't remember that, though. Seahawks fans might be screaming at me.
He's doing that this year. I don't know if that's like a new move.
I can't picture it because I didn't see it today.
He gets down on a knee and like points to the bench, like with finger gun kind of thing. He's like, "We did it."
My impression of Russell Wilson celebrating is like pointing to heaven and like sign of the cross and stuff like that. Like he's a very religious person.
Now he's doing the finger guns to heaven.
I am too now because of Russ.
You found religion. But also like I think obviously like, look, they're going to finish the season against a really, really tough slate of opponents. We'll see what's happening.
Yeah. It could be an absolute bloodbath. To check in would be 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. We'll talk in a month and see how this goes. But there was a report this morning from Ian Rappaport that, and he didn't say like very clearly, I read the article. He didn't say like, oh yeah, they're going to re-sign him. It was more like, oh, this was always kind of the thought that Russell Wilson, when they signed him, by the way, he's making $1.2 million from the Steelers, which is one of the most valuable like dollars to value contracts of the last few years, probably.
Well, his whole career's come full circle because that's how he started.
What he was doing with the Seahawks. He's making $500K for his first 4 seasons.
He made less than the long snapper on the Super Bowl, and that was the whole thing. And like this season is like the whole thing come around. And guess what?
He's never been appropriately paid.
No, ever.
Right.
Yeah, snip, snap. And you know what? If they give him $40 million a year, he's going to be overpaid again,
probably
and they're going to be mad at him.
Anyways, there was a report from Ian Rappaport that essentially is alluding to the idea that the Steelers always thought that he would be this way and that they would want to sign him long term. I remember hearing reports about this before the season started, that they like want him to be their starter long term, and it's really looking like that's going to be the case. So total career revival for Russell Wilson. It looked like it was Jover there for a minute, but we're so back.
We're back.
Also, while we're on this game, I just have to mention there's no one that's more "it's so over and we're so back" than Jameis Winston, and just Jameis Winston having an incredible touchdown pass to Jerry Jeudy early.
Yeah.
And then
nice.
like I believe on the next drive, throwing an interception, I think a pick 6 on a screen pass.
Just the Jameis experience.
Just another day in the life of Jameis Winston. Just
the Lord didn't deliver him from interceptions. No pick 6s today though, right? Or did he have one?
I think the pick he threw a pick.
Did
6
he return it the whole way?
Did the guy get tackled?
No, I don't think the screen was a pick 6.
Oh, yeah, right. He did get tackled, but regardless, yeah. So there you go. Maybe that.
So that's an improvement.
Yeah. Yes.
God did deliver him from pick 6s.
There you go. Yeah, it should have been more specific.
Technicality.
Yes.
God was like, technically, I'll do that. Can I just say we were almost back Aaron Rodgers and his documentary. The press junket was working. It's his first 300-yard game as a Jet. I thought they were going to win. They kind of looked good. I was like, Rodgers knows. Doc's in 2 weeks, baby. Got to ramp it up.
Run the table.
And they blew it.
Damn. 32-26 to the Dolphins. I am starting to get more excited about this documentary now. I've gone full circle. At first I was like, I don't think I want to watch this. It's going to be too painful to watch.
No, you have to. We should watch it together. We should live stream it.
Do a Zoom.
We should. No, isn't that a thing now? Idea. Netflix, you can watch with other people?
Yeah.
Watch
time it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, we should do that. Fuck.
3 parts.
When does it come out? That's a really good idea.
17th, I think.
We should do that. Write that down. That's incredible.
Writing a lot of things down today.
That's
also
really
I've got one more. It's so over. It's so over. Nick Westbrook-Akine's reign of terror.
What a
on our
joke.
lives.
The day we picked him in waivers, I picked him.
Well, I think it's your fault.
It is. Whatever.
We knew that when we picked him, he would stop scoring.
Told you not to do it.
Yeah.
He had the freaking potential game winner go off his fingertips in the end zone, too. Almost had another touchdown.
Dude, thank God, because the freaking Giants, the Jaguars won because he dropped that ball. And then, thank God, now the Giants actually have a top two. The Giants moved up. It's just the Giants and the Raiders for the top two picks in the draft now. So, dude, Drew Lock had the worst game, one of the worst games I've ever seen from the New York Giants offense. And yet,
it turns out he's not very good.
Fourth quarter, that last drive, he was moving. Malik Neighbors made a great play, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
If the Giants won that game, I would have killed Drew Lock, or I would have stopped watching football. I don't know what I would have done.
Craig and I were texting in the chat, the group text today during that drive. Craig was like, "I really, really want Drew Lock to make a touchdown here and win the game." And Heifetz, I think, was like actually really mad.
I wanted to kill you guys because you're always like, just root for the Giants to win. This is your fault. You always root for Tommy DeVito. You get swept up, just want them to lose. And then they're fucking losing and you're like, I want them to win. And I was like, fuck you guys.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be objectively funny.
You guys are mean to me 16 or 17 more times. I swear, I'm going to leave.
Fucking life.
Heifetz, I keep every single day, every Sunday, I think of you because I'm like, my poor friend, Danny Heifetz. When is he going to get to root for his team to win? He root for them to lose every week. It's got to be emotionally draining.
That was a moment. That was when I realized, I had two moments. I had another one. There were two moments this year where I realized how long the Giants had been bad. One was when you said, I've never known you rooting for them when they were good, outside of that one 2020 season. He's like, generally speaking, I've never seen you wanting the Giants to win. I had another one this weekend. I was at a Christmas party and I met a Lions fan.
Did you wear that sweater?
Well, I should have. Got that.
To the party? Okay.
Lions fan we're talking football, puts his hand on my shoulder and says, hey, man, I've been there.
It gets better.
A Lions fan. I was like, fuck. That was
whatever. You guys fucking won 2 Super Bowls.
I know. The 2 coolest Super Bowl wins.
Well, it's a weird thing because no one feels bad.
More.
No one feels bad for the Giants, but also it's been 10 years and they're the worst team in the league by a lot. The Giants are clearly the worst team. The Patriots are better and they have Drake May. The Giants suck. So anyway, big year for the Giants. Draft show, baby. NFL draft show. Tuesday, we go through DK's mock on Power Hour Wednesday. So tune in if your team sucks like mine. Fart or Shart? Any other? What do you guys got for Fart or Shart this week? Other than the Panthers guy who put the $3 million down.
I had written down the Panthers guy watching the end of that Eagles-Panthers game. Did he Shart at any moment in time? Pucker factor 9.9.
There was Jonnu Smith almost had the worst Shart of all time after being the best tight end in fantasy or one of the best 3 tight ends in fantasy for a month, and then literally had 0 points until overtime, and then he finished the game with 12.
Wait, DK, can you explain what happened in your league with the Jonnu Smith thing?
So as I've talked about on this pod, our league, if you get a 0 from any one of your players, you have to shotgun a beer and film yourself and then send it to the group. And you have to do it within, I think, 48 hours or by the end of Tuesday, I think is the rule. And so, and now the other wrinkle that I don't think I've explained to you guys is there's a bag holder. So if you're the last person to do a shotgun on a season, you have to pay, I forget who you have to pay. You have to pay the person with the least shotguns or something like that. $5 per shotgun that's happened over the season. So it's $100-something. So if you're the last person to get a shotgun in the league, you're the bag holder. And it's coming down to the wire now. And so everybody, as soon as they get a 0, is immediately recording their shotguns and sending it to the group because they don't want to have to pay, the bag. And so this guy, one of the guys in our league has Jonnu Smith, and he turned on his camera. It's overtime. He turned on his camera to record a shotgun and goes and turns around and sees the red zone come back to the Dolphins game. It's overtime now. I don't think he realized it was overtime. And he goes, whoa, the game's still on. And then he goes, oh, where is he? Where's Jonnu? And he catches the ball and rumbles for a 20 yards. He's and this dude, Alex, he's like, don't fumble. And it was one of the greatest, he literally pressed record to start doing a shotgun and saw it was a freaking God brought him back to life or whatever. It was amazing.
Also, Heifetz, our beloved producer Carlos, friend of the pod, Austin Gale, just sent us a stat about their beloved teams, the Raiders and the Dolphins, who have the two longest NFL playoff win droughts in football. So
23 years and 21 years, respectively. Dolphins 23 years. 2001 was last time the Dolphins won a playoff game.
That's a long time.
That's like Mariners. That's like almost Mariners territory we're talking here.
The Raiders. Oh, should we? The Raiders are
Carlos was 5.
I was 5.
I was 5 years old. Oh my God. The Dolphins, though, like they've made the playoffs. I think the thing with the Raiders is like the Raiders have been so bad like the whole time. Like the Raiders haven't even been close to competitive the whole time.
I pretty much have no memory of the Raiders being good in my life in the Bay Area.
I mean, the best season was 2016, and Derek Carr broke his leg on Christmas. Merry Christmas to Austin. Oh my God. Yeah,
Derek Carr broke his finger today. By the way,
want to be super clear. Not asking for sympathy. I understand the Giants are better than all these teams, and it's been easier to root for them. I'm just saying the Giants are the worst team in the league. That's all. Nice. Speaking of Raiders, Gruden, who's got us feeling nicey. Dude, I love that Justin Reed was kicking off for the Chiefs today. That just fucking got me going.
There were some good kicker moments today that got me feeling nicey.
You know what's weird? I don't know why it's not their punter, Matt Ariza. He kicked.
Why is it not their kicker?
Well, Matt Ariza was their kicker at SDSU. He was the punt guy. That guy can kick it like 130 yards. I don't know why he's not kicking off.
That's a valid point, Craig. But why is their kicker not the one doing kickoffs?
Well, he doesn't have much power.
He doesn't have distance. They said that. He's accurate, but he has.
What?
But it's
you got one job.
It is funny to think that the kicker can't do the kickoff, and the punter who can punt it further than anyone else literally on the planet also can't do the kickoff. We're gonna have our safety.
I don't understand that.
They got a safety doing their kickoffs because the kicker can't kick it as far.
Again, anyone could do this.
It's incredible.
Not like anyone of us, but the good athletes, all of them could do this.
Speaking of that, in the Seahawks game, the Cardinals kicker took the punter for the Cardinals got hurt. He hurt his foot on some play early in the game. And lo and behold, it's possible. It can happen. It does happen. The Cardinals kicker took over punting duties when the punter got hurt. The hero.
Jack Sawyer.
Sawyer. I love that.
My nicey is more earnest. Your guys is kind of funny. Mine is just Khalil Shakir, who I just love on the Bills. He was awesome today.
Yeah.
He had like 100 yards and a touchdown. I just love how dependable this guy is. I think like one of the most, under-discussed statistics over the last few years. Khalil Shakir has an 82% catch rate in the NFL over the last 2 years, which is number 1 in football.
Jesus.
82%. When Josh Allen throws the ball to Khalil, he is more likely to catch it than Jason Tatum is to hit a free throw. Like, that's just unbelievable.
He had a drop today, and the announcer was like, "What? What the hell?"
Even a drop, I was kind of like,
going on?
Josh's fault."
He's the only wide receiver the last 2 years who has a catch rate over 80%. He's like this. He's basically, I really do think he's becoming like this stealth Amon-Ra St. Brown for
He
Buffalo.
has a similar style. Yeah. I could see that actually.
There's not a rule in the NFL, but there's like a rule around watching the NFL for whatever reason that even though we know there are receivers that come out of the draft that are in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round that are good like all the time, we never acknowledge how good they are till like a year or two after they started being that good. Like Amon-Ra, it took like more than a full year of him being that good for us to acknowledge, okay, this is not a gimmick. I think Khalil Shakir is on that path where like he was good and we're like, oh, he's a starter. And then he's good and we're like, oh, he's like a pretty, like he's like an average starter. He's above it. Like he's just really good. But he was a 5th round pick 2 years ago. And so like everyone's afraid to anoint him because there's so many good receivers. Yeah. But yeah, he just does phenomenal. Everything.
Yep.
Yeah, Shakir's been absolutely phenomenal, and they probably should extend him this offseason. Speaking of which, 2 things. Next Gen Stats tweeted this out. Khalil Shakir has accumulated 550 yards after the catch this season, which is the 2nd most among receivers. The only player who has more yards after the catch than Khalil Shakir is Jamar Chase. So that's crazy. Nice. I also would like to report that my dad texted me toward the end of Bills Rams and said, Khalil Shakir is better than Malik Neighbors.
God, that's good.
That's a good take. That's a real dad take. That's like my dad texting me like Juwan Jennings is better than Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah. My dad just has takes that like I could never. They're not just like dad takes. They're like pre-internet dad takes. Like the internet age dads will never be able to come up with the shit that my dad or I'm sure other pre-internet dads come up with.
Yeah, it's just like genuine. Instead of contrived, it's genuine.
Yeah, right. Did he? So he texted you that?
My dad texted Shakir's better than Malik. I've ever told you guys about my dad and Joe Burrow.
I don't think so.
My dad thinks he discovered Joe Burrow, but like after he won the national championship, like
he threw on the game and he's like, this guy's good.
My dad, every time Joe Burrow does anything, my dad's like, hey, I love Joe Burrow. Remember,
you can
I love Joe
independently
Burrow.
discover someone. If you didn't hear it first,
that's the thing though.
Technically counts.
Because he's not on the internet and he didn't hear anyone else talking about him. He like watched the national championship game and was like, I like this kid. Then he went first in the draft and it's like, I knew it. And he didn't know in between.
He heard them talking about how Joe Burrow had put together one of the all-time seasons in college football history.
Joe Burrow went 15-0, undefeated, won the national championship.
Smoking cigars in the locker room.
In the locker room, broke the college football record for points and yards and passing yards and was the unanimous #1 pick, Heisman Trophy winner. My dad turned on the game and was like, I like this guy.
There's something here. There's something with this
I've
Burrow
seen
guy.
Enough. I love that he went first overall and your dad was like, I knew it.
I called it.
So good.
It is
and
2024.
Craig?
Every time he does anything, my dad texts me. He's like, I told you about Burrow.
And you're like, you did. You did. You're right.
He isn't wrong. Yeah. Look, there's a lot of first round picks that flame out and aren't good. So, first overall picks. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
My dad also has asked, why can't the Giants get a Rob Gronkowski for 12 years? And now I have to explain to him why the Giants didn't take Brock Bowers. He's like, I told you we needed the Gronkowski.
My mom is always like, why can't you make an app? I'm like, well,
that's the best. That's the best take / question.
It's pretty hard.
Why can't you, Craig? Where would you start?
You know what? I don't know why I can't. I guess I could. I guess I should just stop everything and start becoming a software developer.
I've ever given you my idea for an app?
No, I don't. Shockingly, I don't think so.
I want to call it the cloud.
Shockingly, I don't
want to call it the cloud.
Okay.
And it just scans clouds and it tells you about the clouds in the sky.
I'm pretty sure that's a thing, but
really?
Because you can do there's the one where you can point it at the stars and they can show you constellations.
I want to make that, but for the clouds.
I want to make an app where it tells you how long a.
Well, that seems like a more profitable idea.
Yeah. I also want within the app you can hire people to.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So you could pay somebody $15. Yes, holder. The app would be called Line. The app is called, and then you show up. They give you the alert. I'm pretty close. Beautiful.
You sure want to give this away?
Maybe you're right. Maybe it's
imagine
too good.
if your mom was like, I told you, and then someone else just makes the app, and then you're like, fuck, she was right.
Craig, when your mom asks you, why don't you make an app? Is your first thought go to, I don't have a good idea? Obviously, that's not it. Or I don't where would you start if you were going to make an app? When you said that question, the first thing I thought of was Nate Bargatze has this joke about. He's like, if I went back in time, I don't think I'd make a difference.
Yeah, I couldn't communicate how anything works. I don't know.
He's like, it'd be 100 years ago or whatever, and I'd be telling a guy, someday that phone that you're talking on is going to just be handheld and you're going to carry it around. And he goes, oh yeah? How's that work? He's like,
I don't
actually,
know.
You know what? I don't know. Something to do with satellites? Craig, if you had to make an app, where do you start with that?
Well, I'd have to go the Steve Jobs route, and I gotta find the techie guy. I'm the ideas man. And then I would go 50-50 with somebody else who could actually develop it for me. That would be my plan.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
So
how do you, what's the first step in starting an app? That's what I want to know. Do you
email
open
us
up
at
a Word doc?
@gmail if you got your app ideas or any business ideas.
Help me develop. I'll give you a cut ownership.
You should probably patent that or something.
Yeah.
Whatever the word is.
Help Craig develop or steal it. I don't know. Or no, help Craig.
Just fucking take it.
The other
Please
team
don't.
for Craig's mom's sake.
Yeah, come on.
Should we keep it and just bleep out when you say the name and bleep out the idea and keep
That's
everything
a
else?
good idea, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And then we're like, keep that. And then
It's just like a really long beep.
I think Kai's going to steal it though.
Just playing like Tom over it or something. Oh my God. Okay, wait. The other team I just have to shout out because it was such a good game. I know it was a few days ago. Lions on Thursday Night Football. Lions play and coach without fear. And I am again, Giants are so out of it. I love watching the Lions play. I'm so biased. I want the Lions to make the Super Bowl.
I discovered the Lions this year, you know. I told you guys about the Lions before the season.
You did. Yeah. After I
was
remember
like, this team, there's something to this team, guys.
You watched the NFC Championship last year, and you're like, I think these guys might have something.
I think this Daniel Campbell guy is up to something. He's got
I remember
it.
They were 9-1 this year, and you were like, I think they have a shot.
Dude, this is super random. Sorry, I want to go back to the bleep thing again. I said the funniest like bit I've ever seen is this thing on TikTok or Instagram where it's like they put bleeps into movie scenes, like unnecessary bleeps, and it makes it sound like they're really talking
Harry Potter,
like dirty. Like it's the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard. It's like it's like a Harry Potter scene. Like Dumbledore's like talking to Harry, and it's like they're just adding bleeps every like third word, so it sounds like he's. I don't even know. I can't explain it, but it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
The bleep thing is funny. If you're an angel investor, and you want to know what my idea is, hit me up.
Yeah, dude, they should just bleep like the Harry Potter one is just like he's like Harry's like, you want to bleep in the car, and Ron's like, in the car. So
it's good.
Oh my God. All right. I told you my intrusive text from my dad. You guys have any other intrusive thoughts?
I already did my Puka one.
Also, wait, while you guys think, email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com if your parents have any crazy takes, parents, uncles, any older generation. It can be any crazy takes, but like I kind of really am interested in like parent off the internet grid takes where like they just don't, I don't know. I feel like my dad, the core of it is that my dad's not on the internet and has no idea other people have discovered Joe Burrow. But any crazy takes your parents have, they're like, you know, the Dr. Evil, he invented the question mark.
Yeah. I love that.
Anything like that. All right, play of the day. I mean, thank God that Brian Brizzi, the defensive tackle of the Saints, blocked that kick from the Giants to end the game. Oh my God, if the Giants, like literally the game-winning kick and the Saints blocked it, thank God. Or else the Giants would have won, God forbid. So shout out that guy. The Josh Allen pump faking out Braden Fisk, the Rams defensive tackle, and then like just totally putting, I forget the Omar Spates, and like two, like 3rd and 10 just jukes out 2 guys and just gets 10 yards, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then the next play,
the Puka catch we talked about also, I think should be in this list.
The Puka catch, honestly, just Josh Allen made 3 of these plays.
Yeah.
I feel like, I feel like just pick a play from Bills Rams. Worst play of the day has to be the Leggett drop, right?
Oh, easily. Yeah.
That should have been the best moment of Bryce Young's entire career.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about Kadarius Toney? The fucking GOAT. This guy, I love him so much. I love Kadarius Toney so much.
He retrieved 2 punts. One of them he fumbled, and the other one he got a penalty for taunting.
On a fair catch. He fair caught it and then got a penalty for taunting. He was in for 2 plays. I think like
in all fairness, he did catch it, so that's cool.
Also, they were losing by like 3 touchdowns.
The registered snaps are like plays and then divided by like how terrible he is for his team has got to be like an all-time high. Like I don't like obviously like he lost the Chiefs like 2 or 3 games.
Like
was that last year or the year before? I can't remember.
No, that was last year. The first game of the season, he had the worst game any player had all year in the first game because he like dropped 3 catches, he had negative yards, and he basically handed Brian Branch a pick 6 in a game they lost by 1 point.
Yeah, his losses above replacement might be the highest of all time.
No, I really think it is.
Losses
I really think it
per
is.
snap.
Tony is the rare guy that like if he's the only player in the NFL that I think is actually talented. I actually don't know if it's his, but anyone else. I think if we had done his job at various points, the team would be better off.
Did you know that? Okay, so right now on True Media.
What do you mean we? Me? You're saying like I'm
you,
on the
me,
team?
him? Like there are just plenty of times where I'm like, even I wouldn't have screwed that up. Like Mahomes wouldn't have threw me that ball. I couldn't have fumbled that. Like there are literally times where it's like just 10 men on the field would be better than Tony. Often.
There are 240 wide receivers in the NFL that have played at least 1 snap this year. Where do you think Kadarius Toney is in total fantasy points?
Last. because he's fumbled.
Dead last.
Yeah.
240th out of 200. And that includes like, I don't know, 50 players that have scored 0.
Get out. Get out.
He has, this is half PPR. He has negative 0.8 points in half PPR. He is literally dead last in fantasy points this season.
I feel like that Antonio Banderas meme
that.
where I'm like,
among players that have actually played, he is 240th out of 240.
Negative points added.
The GOAT.
can I tell you guys something? That's the
I fucking
happiest I've been all day.
I love Tony so much.
The happiest I've been all day is hearing that.
The taunting is way funnier than the fumble. That's amazing.
Taunting after a fair catch.
The score was like 28-7.
Oh my God.
Thank God he's not on the Steelers because I don't know what him and George Pickens combined would do. That would set off some type of chain reaction.
We got to have that.
Yeah. Not the same as Tony, but I got a little bit of the ick when Roma Dunze caught a touchdown to cut the deficit to 28 points and did a little dance.
That's like the Chris Paul meme.
Yeah. It literally, like Chris Paul hits 3
Chris
to cut
Paul
the lead to
hits
40.
3, cuts the lead to 42. Yeah.
That's a little tough. Any other worst plays? I mean, it's got to go to Leggett and Tony.
Can I honorable mention what was Derek Carr doing? What are you doing? Why did you do that? You're Derek Carr.
Dude, every time he gets out, I think I've said this before on the pod. Every time he gets outside the pocket, he turns into a Lipizzaner stallion. Have you ever seen those things? The horses that dance.
Oh, from
with,
Crimson
like, the really
Tide,
high,
where they
like the really high legs, and they like do like a funky little dance. He like gets outside, and he starts like high stepping, and he thinks he's like Michael Vick or something.
What are you doing?
Dude, Baker does that too. Dude, I love that line of Crimson Tide about those horses. It's like just a matter of voltage. Lights up a cigar.
Like Derek Carr, it's week 14. You're 3-9, buddy. What are we doing?
Wait, can you explain to the people who didn't see what happened?
Derek Carr in a scramble in the fourth quarter hurdled like 3 Giants, came down like on his head basically and broke his hand.
And got a concussion.
Yeah, he got completely knocked out of the game. And it's like, yeah, dude, what did you expect? He got fucking, who was the Texans quarterback who got helicoptered?
Oh, who was
Elway?
that?
Remember? No. He was not good.
Tom Savage.
Oh, was it Savage?
I think there were so many. Or Matt Schaub?
I keep thinking Orlovsky, but it's not Orlovsky. It's a different name that sounds like Orlovsky. Who was the guy who?
Not Brock Osweiler, was it?
It was Brock Osweiler.
Sage Rosenfels?
Oh God, there's been so many.
So many. TJ Yates.
Actually,
I think it was Osweiler.
I googled Texans QB helicopter and the Rosencopter came up because it was Sage Rosenfels.
Oh, maybe it was Sage. Okay,
I don't know.
5th time's the charm.
Maybe it was like all of them.
Maybe there's many helicopter. The Rosencopter.
Oh my God. What were we talking about? Oh, Takar. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that guy.
What are you doing, dude?
I don't know.
Can't turn it off.
Can't turn it off. Okay, I made a bad play today. I have to tell you guys something.
You made a bad play?
I had a bad moment.
Okay.
I kind of messed something up. So we have a dynasty league. DK, it's with your friends. It's very fun. It's Craig, DK, and I, and then like a bunch of DK's friends from home. And one of the people in it is Sean Yu, who is a former colleague here at The Ringer, who we love. And I was negotiating a trade today with Sean Yu. He is in a rebuilding mode. He has Travis Kelce. So I was trying to get Travis Kelce from him. So I'm texting him all weekend. We're going back and forth with the trade over text. And then eventually he just responds like a couple days later. He's like, send the offer. I'm like, okay, cool. Send it, tell him. And then no response for like a day or two. So I was like, okay. So I respond and I'm like, hey, like, okay, like I'm going to cancel. Now it's today. It's like today and the Chiefs game is Sunday Night Football and I don't want Kelce to get hurt during the game. So I tell him, I'm going to cancel the trade before the Chiefs game starts in case he gets hurt. And Sean says, oh, I didn't see the offer. My bad. So I'm like, okay, no worries. Then he doesn't respond again for hours. So I'm like, all right, do you want to do it or do you want me to cancel it? And Sean writes back, and I quote, sorry, dude. I've been busy all weekend. Mom's in town. We just did our courthouse marriage. So it's been a whirlwind. Gonna accept it now so you can leave me alone.
Wow. Congrats.
I was texting Sean about a fantasy football dynasty trade while he was getting married.
And you're like bugging him about it.
Leave me alone.
That's ironically, that's not the first time that this has happened in this league. Yes, like we always joke around Bick and one of the other guys in this league was like badgering Heifetz on the day he proposed to Jackie. And so we like talk about it all the time.
Literally, like while I was like the text I was getting
like,
while I was like about to propose was like, will you give me a future second round pick for Rico Dowdle? Like that was
oh my
like
God.
what was on my phone. Well,
this is what I love about fantasy, man. It's like no days off. No days off.
Oh my God.
I'm sure Sean also didn't want to say like, hey, I'm getting married. And by the end, he just was like, all right, dude, look, I'm getting fucking married, okay?
This is
You
how
are
you
the only one that knows. Me and my family
Oh
and
my
you are now the only people who know I'm getting married.
Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com if you have other like just incredible moments where you were texting or
So
someone.
you
was trying to
pressured
trade
him
with you.
into making this trade. God, that's bullshit.
So there's that. All right, next category. This is a new category. It's called Tom Brady Magic Johnson tweets. Which,
Tough
if you
day.
don't know, Magic Johnson tweets. Just look up Magic Johnson's Twitter; you'll get it. It's the only person in the world who tweets like Magic Johnson. Craig, can you give us your favorite things that Tom Brady said today during this football game? He was announcing Bills Rams.
There's so many, and they're just all so basic. Let me see. I have like a million written down here. Rams have done everything they've needed to do to put themselves into this position, KB, but it's not over yet. You've got a hell of a team in Buffalo, led by a great quarterback in Josh Allen. There is a lot of football left.
I can't even remember what play it was, Craig, but there was another big play in that game where I think it was like, and everyone was freaking out. I think it was like the Rams got the 4th down play or something like that to like essentially seal the game. And Brady goes, they are fired up. Great football.
There was he called something pretty. He goes, that's so pretty. And then there was an awkward pause. And then he goes, I know pretty is not really a football term, but it was in that situation.
See, I kind of like that, actually. That's like the closest he's got to having a personality.
No, it was so awkward.
My favorite was Puka Nacua made maybe the best play all day. And he had that crazy catch. Toe tap was incredible. And KB and Kevin Burkhart's like, complete. And then there's such a long, he's like, complete. That was awesome, KB. Like just like a full 4-second pause. Like awesome.
There was a moment where Burkhardt was like, they were running through a Puka Nacua highlight package. And then he kind of set Brady up to walk us through each play and kind of discuss all the things Puka had done. So Burkhardt was like, what hasn't he done out there today, TB? He says TB, by the way. Burkhardt says TB.
Oh, KB and TB?
Yeah, KB, TB. So then they start the Puka package, and Brady, the first play, he goes, yep, Puka here, catches it. Next play, jet sweep there. I don't know. Literally, he said today, he said, the Rams are a Super Bowl winning organization. They are not an easy team to play.
Dude, we get a dozen emails every Sunday that all say Craig has ruined listening to Tom Brady games. And they actually have ruined it for me too. Because all I think about, I'm watching Bills Rams. It's like, it really was the best game of the year. And I'm thinking, dude, Tom Brady sounds like he's never actually played football.
100%.
Like Tom Brady literally sounds like someone who has just like ended up in an announcing booth pretending to talk. He's just describing what he's watching on the screen. I
think though, I will say this, and I've been the Brady defender because I think he's got it in him to be better. I think he's just nervous and trying to be too corporate. It's like the first time you're like, I don't know, whatever. He's just got like stage fright or something. But like when Craig has been doing this, I swear to God, like it's ruined all football announcers for me at this point, because now whenever I'm watching any of the games, I'm like, none of these guys say anything. Like it's all so generic.
Well, it makes
just,
you appreciate the good ones a lot.
Yes.
Right.
Greg Olsen, when Greg
Olsen's really good. Yeah.
What game did Greg Olsen do last week? Where like I think it was the Cardinals game. I kind of 7 days ago. Wish my memory isn't so fucking bad. Greg Olsen a week ago was doing a game, and they were like, it was a big game. It
was the Cardinals game, I think.
It was Cardinals, and the Cardinals. Yeah. I'm pulling up right now. It was the Cardinals. Yeah, it was Cardinals Vikings, and the Cardinals went up. They were like in the red zone or inside the 10-yard line or something, and they were up 3 points, and it was like 4th and 3, 4th and 4, and they like settled for field goal. And Greg Olsen right there was like, this is kind of like a bad idea. I don't know if I agree with this because it feels like the good idea to go from 3 to 6. But what you're actually doing is incentivizing the offense. Now they have to go and get a touchdown. And not only do they have an extra down because they're going to use 4th down to get it. So they're more likely to score because they're using all 4 downs. Whereas, honestly, if you're up 3, they're pretty happy once they get into field goal range to kind of turtle, and then you go to overtime. So I actually think, despite kicking the field goal, they actually have worse odds to win the game right now. That's exactly what happened. The Vikings went down and scored a touchdown. And it's like, Tom Brady is just like, too bad they couldn't get the first there, right?
This is a Super Bowl team. They're hard to beat.
The Bills score and Brady goes, that feels so good. They needed that, this Bills team.
Dude, Craig, we should have you do a bit where you like go over Brady's greatest moments in his career, but like as Brady, how Brady would have announced Brady.
Yeah, I like that. It's so bad.
The 28-3 comeback announced by Tom Brady.
I think that, but like big picture,
hand it off to James White. James White runs over to the right side and just punches it in there. That is a great play by James White. Congrats to the New England Patriots, a historic franchise.
Oh my God.
How would Tom Brady have described Kyle Shanahan's clock management of just running the ball versus passing?
Not sure about that, KB. I'm a proponent of passing the football, but these are 2 great teams playing right now. Anything's still possible, KB. He always does that. He never wants to. He's always just like, but at the end of the day, these are 2 football teams and they both want to win.
I think his issue is that, other than obviously just because when he talks to the or panels,
I know
whatever,
the
so
whole
effusive.
like he can't say anything because he's like a part owner, and that's. But
No,
I
it's not
still
just
think
that.
he's bad.
I think he wants to be liked by the players, and I think that part of his identity is so intertwined in like kind of hating the media that I think he went in and like seems to be really against the idea of like being a critic. I think that he's very anti-critic, and so like. Anytime he notices bad football, though, he doesn't want to fucking say it. Like, he can't. Like, it took Sean McDermott and calling a timeout for him to finally say something negative in like 3 months. He doesn't want to criticize anybody.
Has he done any like X's and O's breakdowns
That's the
that
thing.
you've heard?
No, and that's the other thing. I actually think the best advice, who gives a fuck what I think, but I think that the Fox producers should tell him, I want you to stop trying to talk to normal people because he doesn't know any normal people. You should pretend you're talking to like a backup quarterback. Pretend you're talking to Jacoby Brissett. Don't filter anything. And if Kevin Burkhardt wants to ask you what spider wide banana, whatever is, then he'll ask you. But like speak like gibberish and it'll be more interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think almost all of the announcers are just like spewing generic cliches like almost the entire game. But like every once in a while, like I notice like Collinsworth, I think is pretty good at it.
He's great.
Collinsworth has like his moments where he's doing cliche stuff. Like he's like, oh, that is just brutal or whatever.
Kelsey's
like, he does
better.
That stuff.
Kelsey used to be fast, but now he's slow, and that's kind of better than being fast.
But there are times where I've noticed this many times with Collinsworth, where it's like the play happens, it ends, and immediately he dives into like, oh, this is really cool. Contextually, here's how they made that happen.
Genuinely, it's like he knew what was going to happen. It's so impressive.
Yeah.
He's like, here's what Andy Reid did right here. And I'm like, wow,
right.
How did you already recognize that and you're ready to draw this out?
And it's like he talks about, it's like they had the guard pull, so they thought it was a run or whatever. It's like, like the context of like how the scheme is working and how that play worked. But it's like, dude, most of these announcers, and Brady especially right now, is just like, oh yeah, they're a good team, great Super Bowl winning. Like it's just so think generic. It's wild.
I think what happens is when they're sitting in the pre-production meetings, the coaches fucking tell them what the key is to certain plays.
Yeah,
like the coaches are like, "Why does this play work?" And they're like, "Look at the footwork on the guard." And it's like known that they won't tell the other team that. Brady doesn't get to be in those, so I do want. But he's Tom Brady. Tell me something. But yeah,
I mean, he can see it for sure.
I know. I don't understand. Yeah, it's just insane.
He's trolling Craig specifically.
Yeah, we'll have to find a new award for who to name this coach award after. We'll take Arthur Smith's name off. I want to just shout out Dennis Allen, the former Saints head coach, who again hated Kendre Miller, the Saints running back, so much, and basically said he was a bitch and put him on injured reserve because he tweaked his hamstring. And then the new coach, Darren Rizzi, basically said, "Yeah, that got done before I was head coach. He's probably been able to play the last 2 weeks. I don't really know why he's on IR." And then the first drive, Kendra Miller scores like a gutsy, hard-nosed, tough touchdown and carries
he
six guys into the end
broke
zone.
a bunch of tackles in this game.
Yeah. So Dennis Allen, insane person.
Dennis Allen just somewhere today, just muttering under his breath. Fucking Kendra Miller. God.
Worst referee moment. I don't know if the refs had a bad one, but I feel like the playoff committee, I actually kind of wanted to think the playoff committee, I don't know about this whole college football system. I think the 12-team playoff is good. Like, I think that there's like stuff to argue about and we can get into it.
Super fun.
But overall, I remember when we like that, it used to be arguing about the 4th versus the 5th team. Last year, it was like a blood feud. And then it used to be arguing about like the 2nd versus the 3rd team. Fuck, 20 years ago, was it Miami and USC just both went undefeated and people just voted on which one, you know what I mean? Like that was 20 years ago. Then back when you could buy the Jets for $600, you could buy the Jets for less than Juan Soto. Like that's how we did it. So like the idea, all these arguments to me, and as someone who like cares more about the NFL than college, I don't want to pretend to have a dog in the race. It's all like, okay, but we're talking about the 12th team. You know what I mean? Like it's like at the end of the, but having said that, Nick Saban pointed out which he was so bitter, it was hilarious, but he pointed out how funny it was that Oregon at the number 1, they get the bye.
They got fucked.
But Oregon's opponent, probably in the second round of this. So if you don't know, 12-team playoffs, so it's going to be 4 games, and then 4 teams get a first round bye. It's going to be on college campuses. It's going to be like great, really cool. But Oregon's opponent in the second round will probably be Ohio State, and then like Texas to get to the final,
and then maybe like Georgia.
Yeah, and then like Penn State will have who's the 4th seed, whereas Oregon's the 1st seed. Penn State's the 4th seed, and they have to play in the first round, so that's harder. But they get to play SMU, who is probably going to lose. And then Penn State will be playing at Boise State, while Oregon will be hosting Ohio State. And Nick Saban made the point of basically, this is the only playoff tournament in America where earning the number 1 seed gets you a harder path than like the 5th seed. He's like, that's not how anything else works.
Yeah, it's going to be an Ohio State rematch. Then they're going to have to play Texas in Texas, and then maybe Georgia. And they're undefeated number 1 team in the country.
But but the more I think about it, I'm like, it's a quibble. I'm like, this whole thing is pretty epic, though. Like this actually reminds me of referees in some ways where, I don't know, people are all negative, but I look at this college football playoff. And again, as someone who is more outside of it than like on the inside, this was complained about to me more than anything in sports in my life. And this is kind of perfect. And it's kind of what everyone wanted the whole time.
I agree. I think it's super fun. I think it's a bummer for Oregon fans, which I am, but I think it's awesome. I'm super excited for it.
Didn't they beat Ohio State already this year, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a weird game.
Close to
I think it's awesome. Like, again, Heifetz, I'm with you. Like, from someone who's like an NFL focused person, like, you know, I don't have a dog in the race, but like, I think this is awesome. I think it is kind of wild when you think like, if you just take a step back and look at how much different college football is.
Oh my God.
It is seismic changes happening in college football. It's like every year something just massive is happening between like the NIL, the conference realignments, the college football playoff. Like it's just like, it's completely sea change happening in college football.
Someone said something to me, not to me, Jesus, this is on television. No, I take it back. I don't know who the fuck said this to me. I don't know if it was in person at a party or television or a tweet. So wherever, this is not an original thought, but somewhere I read something and someone was like, the college football is more professional than the NFL. Like it's more of a business because like the players can like leave whenever they want.
Yeah. So
you have this crazy environment where like the Kansas quarterback, like they use the term re-signed in Kansas. So like they can kind of renegotiate whenever, like there's no rules of like when you can renegotiate or when, like you, like it's like a crazy player friendly environment right now compared to all the other pro sports where, you know, at least you get a long-term deal. Like Juan Soto can't ask for a raise for at least 5 years. You know what I mean? When you get the long deal, these guys, like it's that part's crazy.
The players have more power now. Yeah.
Way more.
Well, it's also, they can choose where they where they want to go, and then they can transfer where they want to go without losing a year.
Don't even get me started on Brian Kelly, the LSU coach who literally has the dream job, Notre Dame head coach, and left for more money somewhere else, bitching this week about players who just like want to go somewhere else. And I'm like, okay, buddy, you left Notre Dame.
College coaches bitching about the players who making no money is like a tale as old as time. Yeah.
But I don't know. This whole the fact that the games are going to be on campus is
that's fun.
Electric.
It's exciting.
Okay, Lucille Bluth. I don't understand the stat line, and I won't respond to it. Award. Juan Soto, $765 million for a baseball player.
I can't even comprehend that. think about like how often do baseball players get a check? Do you think every 2 weeks?
Well, it's during the season.
Is it like
so
normal people, or how does that work? Is it
whole
game
year?
check?
I don't know. Kobe
Just
Bryant used to get paid
imagine
once
like
a year.
every check of that. Oh God, it's crazy.
You can't
Kobe
think about it.
I know.
Kobe Bryant used to get when he made $48 million a year. He got 2 different $24 million deposits. He got twice a year, just a lump sum. The actual number I wanted to say to you guys for this is not the $700 million that you could have bought a baseball team with. Juan Soto will be a free agent again in 2040.
Yeah, if the Earth is still here.
I haven't thought about 2040 yet, and I say that this was the first time that I thought anything about the year 2040. It hadn't occurred to me yet.
That's why you have these long contracts, because might as well. We don't even
Who
know.
Fucking knows?
Here.
Are the aliens going to honor that contract?
I would sign Patrick Mahomes to a 100-year contract.
Fuck it, we'll be dead.
That's how they used to do it, Craig. They like the British leased Hong Kong for 100 years.
Yeah, like a 99-year lease.
Obviously we don't have to get into that, but kind of a weird idea.
Yeah, that is a weird idea.
Yeah,
leasing Hong Kong.
Sorry,
it's weird.
Let's get into the geopolitical and all that stuff. Yeah,
what could go wrong? Brock Bowers broke the record for receptions by a rookie tight end. We're not even 12 days out from Christmas,
dude.
Just has that back pocket. I'm going to list here the other stats that I don't know what to do with. Here are the NFL coaches who have won 70% of their career games. Guy Chamberlain, whatever. I don't know. It's the 20s. John Madden, number 2.
Speaking of a great commentator. Yeah.
Yeah. John Madden. Vince Lombardi.
I heard of him.
George Allen. And the last one is Nick Sirianni.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
I love 70% of his games.
Well, how many games has he coached?
5 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
I just credit where credit's due. I don't know if he gets any credit, but he's on the list.
We'll pour a little honey on him.
Pour a little honey on the goat. Other stats I don't understand. Bears. At one point, the 49ers had 310 yards and the Bears had 2.
In the first half, the Bears had 5 punts and 4 yards.
Yeah. Really, we didn't talk about that game really.
It was a tough start for them.
Tough Bears game.
That was like a real Kyle Shanahan got to coach against like a Thomas Brown who was a fucking passing game coordinator 4 weeks ago. And it's funny because you actually see this sometimes where it's like, oh, they promoted him. So guess what happens? They fired Matt Eberflus, so the defense got worse. But then they promoted the guy who's the passing game coordinator, who's now the head coach. So the offense got worse too. And then you're playing against Kyle Shanahan, so that you're just screwed from the jump. So, yikes.
But then they almost beat the Lions last week. So,
Well, their offense has been out the last 2 weeks have been pretty good. And then they picked it up in the second half. But that first half was rough. It was garbage time, I know. But
I don't understand the stat line. This isn't a stat line, but this was something I consumed over the weekend that I didn't understand. Timothy Chalamet hopping on game day and kind of just being a college football savant or just the greatest actor ever. He just was so smooth and confident and seemed like somebody who has been watching college football his whole life. I know they fed that all to him. I'm sure he had his notes to read. Regardless, the dude put on a performance of a lifetime.
It was a performance of a lifetime.
It's his best role of
Lisa Al-Gaib.
Yeah, the Mahdi.
Maudib.
Lisa Al-Gaib. Oh, yeah. You doing the worm?
Yeah, I sent you guys that, right?
Yeah. Will you predict the games?
They call him Lisa Al-Gaib. A little desert mouse.
The Bene Gesserit. Nasty women.
Nasty women. Yeah, dude, Chalamet. That was crazy.
That was insane. But yeah, it's kind of like he treated it like a role. Like he was like, that was psycho.
I was telling you guys off the show that one of my favorite movies that no one ever talks about, maybe everyone hates, I don't know, is The King.
Oh, yeah.
Which is it's a Shakespearean remake essentially, but it's kind of hardcore and violent, and
yeah,
I fucking love that movie. No one talks about it.
Chalamet. He's been Willy Wonka, Paul Atreides, and Bob Dylan in the last 12 months, and it worked. He went 3 for 3.
Dude, that reminds me.
And he was on college football.
And he's like a sneaky football guy who I'm like, do I want to get a beer with Chalamet now?
Do I love Timothy Chalamet?
That reminded me, dude, Daniel Day-Lewis's wife once said, I've lived with some strange men.
Yeah. Dude. See, Chalamet doesn't peg me as method. I think DDL was Abe Lincoln for like 3 years every day. I think Chalamet comes home and he's like, "What bars we hitting?"
Yeah.
Is he dating?
Does he
Kylie
smoke
Jenner?
a vape? Do you think?
I don't know if he's still dating Kylie Jenner. I don't think they wanted, for his Bob Dylan press run, I don't know if they wanted Kylie Jenner to be there. So I kind of feel like they're just kind of keeping her on ice until the Bob Dylan movie and the Oscars wave.
How does that hurt?
I think for like the types of fans and Oscar voters and stuff, like him just like hanging out with Kylie Jenner on the red carpet is just like maybe not what they want for the Bob Dylan movie press. I don't know.
Carlos says we got to get him on the draft show, and I think that's an incredible idea.
Well, he's a big Ringer
Let's
fan.
call.
He's been on Kimmel before, and he said he's a big Bill fan. He only follows like, this tweet might be old, but I saw a tweet about how he only follows like 50 people, and one of them's Bill.
Yeah, we
And
got to
Zach
get.
Lowe.
Yeah. Oh my God, you got to get Chalamet in the
All
draft.
right.
So he's
Chalamet,
like
if you're listening, you're invited on the Ringer NFL draft show.
Muad'Dib, he might know ball. He knows ball. Muad'Dib knows ball.
Dude, the memes of like he says he's too humble to admit he is the Mahdi. Also, wait, on this note, 2 tight ends who outscored Kyle Pitts in a lie.
Tough day for Kyle.
Kyle Pitts, 1 catch, 14 yards.
He's back.
It's so over.
So over. 2 tight ends who outscored Kyle Pitts in a lie. Charlie Werner.
Yeah, okay.
I believe
He's
it.
the other tight end on the Falcons. I'll have you know.
Oh, God.
Josh Weil?
Wiley?
What? I don't know.
I think it's
I've only
Wiley.
seen it written.
I don't know for sure.
Parker Navarro.
That's not a real person.
Parker Navarro?
I'm going with Parker Navarro.
Sure, me too. Who is that?
Parker Navarro is the Ohio quarterback that Timothy Chalamet said was the reason he wanted to pick that game as an upset, and then he's the only one who picked Ohio to win, and then they beat Miami of Ohio.
Knows
Lisa
ball.
Al-Gaib.
Burn book.
Last week was...
So just to
Stroud.
recap, in reverse order, we have burned C.J. Stroud and Tank Dell.
Yeah.
Debo Samuel, who actually wanted to burn this week. I forgot we already did that. DJ Moore, Michael Pittman, Jalen Waddle, Mahomes, Travis Etienne, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, DeAndre Swift, Christian Kirk, and Deshaun Watson.
Who do we got this week? This was a rough week with like injuries and everything.
A lot of people wanted to burn Jaden Reed because he had 0 points on
Oh, yeah, I can
Thursday.
see that.
Oh.
I could see
He's
that.
been good, though. Like, he had like 18 points the week before that, 15 or something the week before that. Like, he's been good. He scored a lot of touchdowns. I feel like it's tough to burn him for the 1-0, although obviously it's a tough time. The person I'm wondering, I kind of think we should burn Kirk Cousins because he's screwing up not just himself, but he's also messing with Drake London and Darnell Mooney and Pitts. But
And Pitts, yeah.
Mooney
He's just
had
messing
like,
up the whole
Mooney had like
offense.
140 yards today, though.
I know. But like,
What about Marvin Harrison?
did we not do that?
Is he? Did we?
Fuck, we didn't. Yeah, let's burn his ass. Yeah, what am I talking about? I
Hit 6
assumed.
points. Come on.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, burn him. Yeah, he's done.
His 3 of his last 5 games, 6-6-2.
Marvin Harrison, you know who I think he's really going to end up being? Like Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Really good player. Marvin Harrison's dad said this about Marvin Harrison. I wish he demanded the ball more like I did. He's too selfless. I wish he'd be more selfish. Marvin Harrison said that about his son. And like, you know what? You know who else is like that? Amari Cooper. Just wants to win games. Doesn't demand the ball. Like, I kind of think Marvin Harrison's content, like doing what needs to be done and doesn't need to go out. And like, he's not, I literally think he's not yelling at Kyler Murray for the football.
Yeah.
And he's good.
Now he's in the book.
Yeah. All right. Marvin Harrison, you're burned. Okay. Should I apologize to Sean Yu for texting him during his wedding?
No,
I said
then
sorry,
you're just going to
but-
interrupt his honeymoon. Just let him be.
Yeah, I would say see if you can do like a Zoom thing with him so you can say it face to his face.
Yeah.
Just FaceTime him at like midnight. on
Should we
Sunday.
should we pay for a cameo to send to Sean Yu of a celebrity apologizing on behalf of you? That'd be good.
Yes, maybe Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah,
Or
Chalamet.
Travis Kelce.
Or Kelsey.
Yeah. Is he doing those already?
I doubt
think
it.
so.
I don't know. Probably not these days.
Highly doubt
What are they
it.
called again?
Cameo?
Cameos, yeah.
Good idea for an app.
Yeah. You get to start now.
Cameo's a great idea.
Oh my God. All right. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Kyle and Carlos, for producing this episode. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, everyone. Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. I want your crazy dad, parent, whoever takes on whatever, moms, whatever. Like, just give me their takes. Like, my dad thinks he discovered Joe Burrow. And what was the other
it has to be in the lines of like my father claimed he invented the question mark.
Yeah, anything like that. Anything.
Remember we did a trivia who invented the letter J? What was that?
Yeah, it was like some Italian guy in 1500s. Yeah, Antonin something. What was the other thing we wanted people to email in?
A lot of
angel
things.
investors who want to get involved.
Angel
in
investors
my
for
app
Craig's idea that hopefully we bleeped out. And then there's another one.
Yo, Andy Reid is on Cameo. Oh no! Is this an impersonator?
Do you remember
Almost
Jeff
Andy Reid.
Saturday was
Never
on
mind.
Cameo when he got hired for the Colts when he was on First
Gene
Take?
Steratore.
And then
Oh,
we
Gene
almost.
Steratore. Good. He can come on and disagree with whatever we tell him to.
That's what I'm for. Dude,
There was a great one today in the Rams-Bills game. There was a great Brady comes in and they were like, I think that was a false start, but they didn't call it. Gene, what did you think? Gene's like, yeah, that was a false start. They should have called that. And I was like, okay, once again, ref's wrong.
Antonio Brown is on Cameo.
Yeah, dude. Antonio Brown's probably on everything.
Just saying, 250. Let's make it
Brett
happen.
Favre? Not sure I want a video from him.
That was just low hanging fruit for you there.
Well, that's exactly why I don't want a video from him. I don't want to see the low hanging fruit.
Thank you, Lorne.
Lord.
Thank you, Nelly.
Nice. See that? I think Hot in Here is a 1 second song. I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, are we doing that? Are we doing that this
Isn't
week?
it like a dun, dun?
Yeah, we'll see.
Mhm.
I think
Okay.
we have to see if our relationship can handle that so quickly
Aaron
after the
Rodgers.
previous
There's
one.
always lookalikes on Cameo.
That guy's like a really creepy looking Aaron Rodgers.
I feel like these are all altered with like filters. You know the Tom Cruise guy?
No.
Yeah.
You never seen him? There's like
Ben Stiller.
Those are funny.
Yeah.
There's like I don't know if it's AI, but there's like some type of Snapchat filter of this dude on TikTok who legitimately looks exactly like Tom Cruise.
There's a guy that looks just like Elon Musk, but he's like really small. Have you seen that guy?
No.
Yeah. There's a guy that looks just like Elon Musk, but he's small.
Elon
Venus-
Sneaky Haas.
Yeah,
Big
he's
dude.
huge.
Yeah.
Is he? How
His
tall is he?
torso's the size of like a Buick.
Oh, yeah. No, the proportions are like, they got the
the
Ron DeSantis.
Cybertruck
I
is
don't know what's
based
going
off
on.
his build.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's like sideways.
God.
He's got the Ron DeSantis where like, I don't understand how any of this, like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, DeSantis is like stuffing his boots with like tissue paper. Elon's 6'2". I bet I give him another inch. I give him 6'3". He's big.
His torso's 5'11".
All right, goodbye, everyone.